Welcome to the Metatron's channel. Hello, hello. How you doing, noble ones? Good to see you. Good to see you. Hello, hello. What a topic. What a topic, noble ones. How you doing? How you doing? Hello, hello, Steve. Hello, hello. Ohio, Elder. Good to see you here. No beef. No beef, Carnivalos. In fact, what we're doing today is that I'm going to provide, in the best of my ability, a fair analysis of Asmongold's takes on topics that we overlap about or on, but at the same time maybe, doing a little bit of an introduction as well. How you guys doing? First time on a stream, Elysia? Very good to have you here. Thank you so much. I remember you from the comments though. Hi. Welcome, welcome guys. Welcome. Well, that's the topic, Tindy. Not going to change it. So, welcome. It's not going to be the topic of the entire stream, of course. And as you know, usually we finish our streams with a little bit of gaming as well. But that's what we are starting with today. I hope you're doing great. It's phenomenal to have you here, guys. Very nice to see you. And at the same time, do remember,
you are Muppets.
But here we are. Okay, so I'm gonna wait a second to see if more people, just waiting for more people to show up, and then we begin. What I'm gonna do, I'll give a little presentation, a little presentation, and then I'll focus on chat, I'll read, I'll hear what you have to say, and then we'll watch a few videos from the man, so that we can see what we agree with, what we disagree with, and a few things like that. I think it's a good thing to do. Good entertainment, good entertainment. In the meantime, let me see how people are doing here in chat. By the way, do you like my new helmet? This is new. We might mess with it a little bit later. Good, I already see quite a lot of opinions. Yeah, we got a lot of opinions here. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. All right. Well, how about we get started? Okay, so today we're talking about Asmongold. Now, for the 0.0000000000007% of you who have never heard this name, I will try to provide a short, brief, but fair introduction to the man before we begin with the analysis of his takes. And in order to do that, I'm going to disappear for a moment. Why? Well, because it's not about me, is it? Be right back. All right, so Asmongold is a gaming streamer, at least at his original core, who managed to reach impressive notoriety to the point that he's one of the most viewed streamers on Twitch. On what category, you ask? Gaming? Well, he is very popular in that substrate too, but no, in the political commentary sphere. He is, in fact, Twitch #1 political commentator. Now, how did this happen, you ask? Well, I think one of the reasons could be the fact that his name is now one of the most searched words on Google search engine above, for example, the NBA, among other things. So I'm sure that that's a contributing factor. But it's not all there is to it. And also I'd like to underline while I'm at it, since ASMR seems to be #1, I think I should probably open an ASMR channel. Metatron ASMR with helmets, but I digress. So, let's first and foremost frame this in the most coherent way, and then we'll go into the takes. So I'll begin by, rather than talking about who he is, I want to talk about what Asmongold is, and in order to do it, I'm going to give a definition in reverse. So let's retro-engineer it. What Asmongold is not is a political commentator, regardless of any given success in the space. He's a gamer who comments on politics. And to be precise, he's a gamer who provides commentary on politics, usually through the prism of the culture war, in relation to gaming specifically. So, in most cases, there is that connection, a tether, if you will. Although these days, I've seen him comment on policy and news too from time to time. Still, once you frame it that way, a gamer who comments on politics, you'll be able to understand how he can be based on certain topics, mostly those relating to common sense within the gaming space, but also, at the same time, fall short on other more complex issues. After all, that's to be expected. He clearly doesn't have a background in political science, international economic theory, nor history, so he will lack in those areas when he gives an opinion, and people should keep that in mind. If you're commenting on, say, economic policy, a full grasp, for instance, of the socioeconomic underpinning of any given item in discussion would be required to have a complete picture and therefore come to a reasonable conclusion. Yet, in my experience, whenever we talk about Asmongold, we talk about this, ladies and gentlemen. This is Asmongold. So what do I mean by that? Well, how about I return on screen for a moment? Did we just see a D20? I'm going to do one lovely thing now. Imagine you have a D20 right now and you roll it. Unless it's gaming, with which I often agree with these takes, particularly when it comes to politics and games, you have to roll your dice, the D20, to represent Asmongold's positions. Sometimes, if you get any number from 2 to 10, my reaction to what he's saying will be, oh gosh, I don't know. No, I don't think I can agree with that. You roll again and you get between 11 and 19. I will say, you know what? What he just said makes perfect sense. Yeah, sure, I agree. Sometimes he rolls a 1. In those cases, I'll go, ooh, no, oh no, no, I'm sorry, no. Although then again, to give credit to the man, he usually apologizes publicly for those takes. And other times, sometimes you roll a 20. When that happens, I say, Asmongold, based. So which one we're going to encounter today? Well, I've got a few videos prepared, so then we can see which dice we roll and what number we get. In fact, just for fun, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to roll, and let's see what we get. Roll the dice. Woohoo! Okay, this was not a good take, Asmongold. Next. Ooh, Asmongold, that was pretty good. No, I don't know if I agree with that, Asmongold. Yeah, no, definitely not. No. Yeah, I can see your point there. It's very logical. Okay, that's pretty good. Right, I think I got my point straight. Okay, so I think as far as we are concerned, that's where we are. Now, for the analysis to be complete, usually when it comes to criticism towards Asmongold, this is twofold. On one side, people say it's a React channel, and then we can go into the legal and moral analysis of this section. And then on the other side, there is the accusation of Asmongold being a right-wing grifter. So how about we deconstruct these, and I'll share with you my honest opinion on all of these. Now, when we talk about React channels, I'm gonna be honest with you, I occasionally do React videos myself. It's lazy content. It's the easiest type of content that a creator can make. I personally usually choose to do React videos when I'm busy preparing something more research that requires time and there is a certain level of production value. Those take time. So in the meantime, I'll produce a couple of fillers that are React videos. I try to provide commentary that is interesting, congruent, and cohesive, considering the topic at hand, particularly when it comes to history. But at the end of the day, doesn't matter how you look at it, React content is lazy. So Asmongold, since his channel is mostly React, compared to channels that do full production and research, is lazy. He still puts a lot of work in it, because I imagine he's live for a monumental amount of hours. So comparatively, he's lazy. But I think he would accept that. At least for what I understand. He would say, yeah, sure, I'm lazy compared to other creators. But is it illegal, what he's doing? And most importantly, is it immoral? And I would like to respond to this because due to the fact that I've done a little bit of React myself, I've had those accusations too. From the legal perspective, we need to discuss the fair use disclaimer, which under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, I got it right in front of me, allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, commentary, news reporting, education, research, scholarship, and as I said, in general, commentary. So from a legal perspective, strictly speaking, as long as he provides enough commentary in order to make his reaction content transformative in nature, he's doing nothing illegal, and nor am I whenever I do a React video. Now let's talk about the moral aspect of this. So I told you, you know, I like being thorough when I do these examinations as well as fair as possible. Is it morally wrong to produce React content? Usually people that complain about this, I know myself because of the comments I get, they say that React channels are content thieves, in the sense that someone else with a much smaller channel produced a video, the big React commentator reacts to the video, they are stealing their spotlight, they are stealing their views. This is never or almost never beneficial to the creator that is being watched, and therefore this practice is highly immoral. Now, the situation with this, it's a very reductive way to look at this, and it's a really case-by-case scenario. Do I think that what XQC does is almost content theft? Sure. But when it comes to the kind of commentary that I provide, and also for what I've seen when it comes to Asmongold, the real question that I think we should ask is, can it ever be beneficial for a smaller channel? And I have the answer. Let's have a look at this channel, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to make sure that I have the chat in case you are commenting. I'm going to read some stuff, but let's have a look at this. This channel is called The Background NPC. And we can see it's a channel with 112,000 subscribers, so it's a highly successful channel. Man, how many videos did she have to make in order to be this successful? 300, 500, 11 videos, ladies and gentlemen. How did this happen? Either this lovely lady is a genius of algorithmic interpretation and reading within the YouTube ecosphere, or we actually see what happened, which is the man himself reacted to one of her videos. When he reacted to her, she had 300 subscribers. In the matter, when did he react? Freaking 10 minutes ago. So 9 minutes ago, she went from 300 subscribers to 112,000 subscribers. And deservingly so. She's a lovely content creator. I think she makes really nice videos. And now she's got a career. So, he literally changed her life. And what I want to say about this is that we're going to watch, by the way, among various videos, we're going to watch this, but I think she's really nice, so you should go and check her out. Not that I have the same level of influence in any way, shape, or form, of course, but I would like to encourage you because I think she's really nice as a content creator. There she is. And do you think she is going to complain about content theft from a channel with 300 subscribers? How many views did she get in the original video? I don't know. But I don't think she's going to have a problem with that. In fact, I watched her reaction and she was very grateful. So in this case, this happened. You could say, yeah, but does this ever happen? Well, Penguin Zero, 16 million subscribers. His career was ignited because a bigger channel reacted to one of his videos. Jacksepticeye, 30 million subscribers. He freaking paid cash for a massive house in Brighton. His career was kickstarted by a bigger creator that reacted to him. And there are plenty of stories like this. Now, given it will have to do, like if the video in question is a horrible video, even if a big creator reacts to you, you're not going to have, so, you know, a success. So, of course, part of this is due to the fact that she produced a good video. And also, as you can see, she's been posting, so she needs to now retain the new subscribe wave. So she does have some merit into this. But let's stop pretending that someone, when a big creator reacts to a smaller creator, it's only detrimental to the smaller creator. This is a clear evidence, and I'm all about the facts, that she absolutely benefited enormously. And I'm happy for her. Look at the views. She gets more views than me. And I'm so happy for it. There is no jealousy whatsoever. In fact, I'll start watching and you know what? I'm just going to subscribe to her right now. And I suggest you to go and check her out because I think she deserves it. I'm very happy that she got, look at this, 400,000 views. I have trouble getting 400. I do sometimes, but it's not easy for me to get 400,000 views. She just got 400,000 views in 6 days. That's phenomenal. Happy for her. Now let's address the other accusation. Is he a right-wing grifter? Now, this is a situation that is a little difficult for me to express without going into, without getting annoyed, because oftentimes, even though I've expressed millions of times that all I care about is the truth, I am a very moderate individual politically, I'm not a hateful individual, I don't like extremists, that's me. Still, whenever I make a video, and if the evidence that I'm providing doesn't confirm biases on either side, people get mad. So when I make a video and it upsets people on the left, they call me right-wing grifter. There are plenty of videos on the tube that call me a right-wing grifter. And then when I make a video that upsets people on the right, they call me woke. And I've even made a response when I said, behold the Wokatron. So I'm either the Wokatron on a Monday and the Metachud on a Tuesday, which is logically impossible, or I think people are getting a little easily offended, and what they do is that they use the word grifter to describe, that in fact insult, simply someone who disagrees with them. But is it, at least when it comes to me? But what about him? Well, first of all, let's divide it. Is he right-wing? Now, I know that some of you will say, oh, absolutely, he's right-wing. And then there will be people that say, no, he's a lefty. When I read these comments, I know that people that call him right-wing are probably lefties, and people that call him left-wing are probably right-wingers. The reality is, for what I've seen so far, and as I say, I'm trying to be fair, I think he is very right-leaning when it comes to his positions concerning the culture war within the gaming space. That's what I would say. But I've also heard him say things that no conservative would ever say. So I personally think his takes are mixed. Perhaps we could describe him right-leaning, but he's definitely not as right-wing as a Matt Walsh. I think we can agree with that. But is he a grifter? Well, how about we look at the definition of grifter, since I like being thorough. Grift, ways of getting money dishonestly that involve tricking someone. Is he getting money dishonestly? No. A grifter is a con artist, someone who obtains money by swindling or tricking others. Is he tricking? No. I'll read the politics section. 1 second. Someone who gets money dishonestly by tricking people. I'm going to say no. Now, within the modern political space, grifter doesn't always mean fraud, because I think this definition does not fit Asmongold. I'm trying to be honest here. He's clickbaity. Occasionally I'm too, but not fraud. Not fraud for me. So sometimes in the political space these days, particularly within the culture war, people use it to mean that it's a person of online presence that uses political topics that they know will go viral in order to make a profit. Problem is that, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, this only applies to people that do this, but they don't actually believe and are not being authentic. That's my personal idea of grifting, since, in the original word, at least etymologically speaking, a certain level of trickery has to be present. So, if you don't believe in it, and you're just making these videos because you know they will make you money in order to pander to your audience, and then once you get enough money, you forget about your audience, you go to an island and change name, then yeah, you're a political grifter, left or right. But when you do believe in this, and it does appear, to me at least, whether we can agree or not, he seems to be authentic. So if you're genuine, what you could say, because I know people in my audience, some are right-wing, some are left-wing. If you are left-wing, you can easily say, hey, I disagree with his takes, because, yeah, those takes might be right-wing from your position. But calling him a grifter, I personally, it's inappropriate, simply because, for me, in order to be grifting, the person should be unauthentic. And that's my opinion. Feel free, of course, to agree or disagree. But at the end of the day, that's where we are at. And after this beginning, I'm going to read the super chats now. I'm going to engage with chat a little bit. And then we're going to watch a few videos. The videos that I've prepared today for you, that I would like to review, I'm going to appear on camera again in 3, 2, 1. Muppet is back. Oh, no, wrong. Muppet is back. No, wrong. Goodness gracious, where is it? Technical difficulties. There we go, I'm back. Hey, good to see you. So yeah, we're going to review I want to see his take on Dragon Age Veilguard. I want to see his take at the problem with women in games. I want to see his take when he reacted to Oblivion got censored from Angelica. I think it's her name. I do watch it. Yeah, Angelica Tosh. I sometimes watch her videos. And then this is just the music that I was using at the beginning. GoldenEye, theme song, Nintendo 64, because I'm a retro gamer before being anything else. But with that out of the way, let's have a look at your positions, guys. And thank you so much for being here. Whether you agree with me or not, I appreciate that you're here today. Thank you for taking the time. All right, let's have a look at Super Chat first. Thank you very much, Juster Owens, for gifting a Metatron membership. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Data Sung, for supporting the show. Once again, thank you, Jasper, for gifting one more Metatron membership. And then I want to thank Hose. Metatron, love your videos. Make a video of the Hungarian kingdom, please. We are the GOT got of Europe. Hungarian would be cool. I'll have to see. I'll probably have to collaborate with someone. But thank you very much for the support. Now let's have a look at live chat, because I am curious to see what you guys think. Yeah, there we go. For instance, you see, look at this. Chief says, I'm going to put Twitch chat as well, because we are multi-streaming at the moment before we start actually watching. Let's see what we've got. I also subbed to NPC Gamer channel after Asmongold went through her video and watched more of her vids because she's entertaining like the Roach King. Man, what a name. So yeah, great. So you're basically proving my point here. Great. Asmongold is good takes. Yeah, sometimes, sure. Hello, handsome face. Hello. Yeah, I read this. So who else we got? And as whoever enjoys Asmon needs help. Well, that's your opinion, of course. We respect everyone's opinion here. But here we are. Let's see. Calling Asmongold smart. I don't remember saying that, but whatever. Muppet, I agree with the Muppet. Absolutely. What else have we got? What have we got on Twitch here? King Muppet. Yeah, that's me, actually. Since we are saying that, one thing that we need to remember, guys, is that now, do remember that we have the blessing of the presence of the Muppet. I wonder if he watches Asmongold. But yeah, the Muppet will come back. The Muppet will come back, because Muppet forever. Muppet forever. Words have lost meaning. Oscar is absolutely right. You know what? Since we're talking about this, you know how sometimes people call me racist, blah, 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 right? I'm not going to spend too much time on this because it's ridiculous, but I do want to say one thing. It's still happening. I don't know how it's still, how this strategy of calling everyone racist equally to the strategy of calling everything woke, but I do want to focus on racist because that's what I was called half an hour, 2 hours ago. So if someone called me woke 2 hours ago, I would have told you, but I think the last time someone called me woke was like a week ago. Doesn't happen as often. But someone did call me racist a few hours ago. And I want to see if you think that my take was indeed racist. So let's have a look. Let's go to my X, and also we'll talk about this, because I do want to talk about this, just to finish off this part. But I was showing this. Now, given I personally don't use the word woke as much because I'm annoyed by people that use it constantly, but I did want to comment on this image here. And what I commented on this image is the following. I said, the one above is the superior form of diversity because it is based on the truth. This one here. So we have an ancient Roman, clearly European, Mediterranean, okay? We've got a Native American, we've got a Norse, we've got an African warrior, a black African warrior, we've got an Asian Buddhist, probably from, I imagine from China, we've got a Japanese samurai. So we have a wonderful display of different, beautiful, rich cultures throughout the world. And I think that this is the kind of historically accurate diversity that I love and support. Then I say the one at the bottom is just political propaganda, this, which focuses on inclusivity at all cost, including the bending of historical truth. See Netflix Cleopatra. Even if you disagree and think the one at the bottom is fine and it doesn't bother you, which I would respect, still false, in the sense that you don't mind it, at least I would respect you more than I do those who gaslight you and tell you that the one at the bottom is not actually happening in media. It is. That's a fact, and gaslighters are bottom-feeding, manipulative liars. This is what I said. I stand by this position, and this is, I think, a good situation in which I'm showing a moderate take. A moderate take. Because unfortunately, in the current era in which we're living, a far left, not leaning, not right-leaning, not left-leaning, a far left take, specifically in the American context, which is different, is no, we're going to do this, and if you disagree, you're racist. And a far right, or maybe should I say alt-right, because those are the ones that usually introduce the racist part of it, a alt-right take on this, it would be only this one matter, everything else is inferior. A moderate take instead is mine, the one where I say all of these are beautiful. African history, European history, Japanese history, Asian history, Indian history, this is all beautiful. I love all of it. As a European, I am particular, have a preference over ancient Rome because I'm a Roman fanboy. Absolutely, it's a bias of mine, but I love all of them. That's a moderate take. And the people that can't see that, well, it's their problem. It's not my problem. And of course, among these comments, we got the usual, so you're a closeted racist. Good to know. Yes, so that happens. That happens. And it's one of the reasons why, you know, I think we just gotta keep the guard high. I don't even know why people still do that. It doesn't work. No one likes that kind of approach, including mildly left-leaning people. It just doesn't work. It's a tactic that doesn't work. Calling everyone a racist doesn't work. So might as well change tactic, rearrange strategy, and engage. So that's where we are, guys. That's where we are. Okay. So let me see a little bit if there were other super chats. I do want to acknowledge those because I want to respect people that are generous. Obviously, always. Yes, we do. So let's have a look. People say, "Oh, Roma, come namo, Asmongold è un bravo ragazzo." So Ortelius thinks that Asmongold is a good guy. And then he said something in Roman regional variety of kind of Roman dialect from an Italian perspective. Good to have you here. Thank you for sharing your opinion. And Hay says, Asmongold isn't a grifter in my opinion, but he speaks too confident about topics he doesn't know and spreads too much misinformation. That's fine. It's a fair critique, which is why I wanted today to introduce this discussion by saying, do remember that even though he's the most watched political commentator, he isn't a political commentator. He's a gamer who comments on politics. And as long as you understand that, I think we can put things into perspective. But it's important to call it out. I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. Ameni Imhotep says you should dissect historical depictions in Hollywood of Cleopatra, Africa, etc. I've done it. I've mentioned that because differently from what people say, I actually call out all forms of racial swap, even though, once again, it's funny when people tell me that I'm fixated with ethnicity, even though ethnically connected videos are probably like 50 or 60 in my channel, but I have 1,200 videos. So in the majority of cases, you'll hear me bitch about the wrong helmet. But sometimes I do talk about correct interpretation of ethnicity, but whenever I do it, I call out both sides. If they whitewash a historical character that is black or Asian and whatnot, I call it out. And when they blackwash a character who's white, I call it out equally. So that's what I do. It's my take. It's the basis of the platform. But for some reasons, the haters tend to forget that. Conveniently. Okay. So, what else? Let me have a look. What else? Sure, George says, I've been watching Asmongold, but since he started commenting on politics, beginning with woke, I feel he's pretty opinionated, clueless. And that's fine. I mean, of course, everyone has the freedom to choose what annoys you, what interests you, and if some of the content now in the commentary perspective, the prism of evaluation that he uses, in your opinion, is skewed in a direction that doesn't overlap with your own personal opinions and you don't want to watch it, it's entirely up to you. I personally prefer to watch people on both sides because this way I kind of keep an open mind, because if there is one thing that is very dangerous in our society today is echo chambers. So I prefer to listen to other people's ideas, even if I may disagree. That's me, but of course, depending on, I've got an easy job. I have an easy job. I'm here, I'm talking to you, streaming, enjoying your company, playing some video games, doing some research, producing videos, but I have quite a bit of free time still, and so I think it's easier for me to say, I can watch this, I can watch that, but for you, maybe you're doing a harder job than mine, for which, of course, I respect you, and then if you say, look, I've only got 30 minutes in the evening before I have to go to sleep, I just want to watch something different, something that I agree with, something that does use terminology that I'm kind of sick of, and that's totally fine. It is at that point absolutely fine. Finn Frog says, I think Asmongold is reasonable. I know quite a lot of people think that, because otherwise he wouldn't be that successful. So there's that. You think that reply I got was AI generated? Maybe, who knows? I mean, it's becoming difficult, harder and harder to recognize and distinguish AI from human beings. I mean, isn't that part of the dead internet theory? I don't know, but maybe. I don't know which one is worse, to be honest. But yeah. Visual says, apparently common sense is racist. Yeah, that is, unfortunately, one way to look at it, isn't it? So, I was telling you though, and this is the funny part. This is the, oh yeah. Thank you very much, Janus. I really appreciate you subscribing on Twitch for 4 months, man. That's dedication. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you. Very much appreciated. Appreciate that. I got some claps in chat. Thank you for that. I do want to show that, so thank you for the claps. And I do want to say thank you publicly to Janus, who has subscribed. Thank you very much, my friend. Really appreciate that. Common sense is an oxymoron. Yeah, it's not common at all. You're absolutely right, my friend. I couldn't have put it better myself. It's actually well said. We've got a Spyro member for 20 months. I covered this one on my daily tech news streams a few weeks ago. The internet is 51% bot traffic. Goodness gracious. Proven and true. A good portion of that 51% is AI. Dead internet theory is now true. Man, it's dead internet fact. Gosh, that's insane. I mean, I do that. I've posted a video today. And yeah, the first ones are always the bots. They're always the bots with the images that are pretty much soft prawn at this point. And then the usual thing. Your video is so interesting and you always present such fascinating topics. Or I'm going to watch this with my boyfriend and later the room is going to get spicy. And then a bunch of emotes. That's how it is. That's where we are. That's where we are. Isn't it? Insane. But that's the situation. You don't want to know about Spotify. Goodness gracious. Good morning from Japan. Hey, Murders Inc. Thank you very much for being here. Are you Japanese or you just live in Japan? Just so I know if I can throw some Japanese at you. We got more super chats, so let's check these out very quickly. Right. So, let me see. So Seth says, misinformation is a garbage made up word used to try and manipulate folks into silence. Sometimes it's true. I think some misinformation does happen, but whether you want to call it disinformation, misinformation, yeah, it's one of those words that is overused, absolutely. Blood Talon, thank you for the support. I don't have any proof of it, but it feels like the overtone window has shifted in real time. The old silencing techniques no longer hold their sting. Absolutely, because at the end of the day, if you use a word too much and you use it in contexts where it's not apt, what happens is that it dilutes the meaning of the word. This is actually a semantic occurrence. It's a phenomenon that does happen. And then what happens is that the word means nothing and then it needs to be substituted. Thank you. I like the spike. Honest question. Have you ever watched Hetalia, like Country Balls and EU4? Welcome to Metatron. He's a goofy Italian who is pretty cool and recent guy. He also doesn't hate you because of your skin. Absolutely, totally. I don't hate anyone. For like, the only people I hate are the hateful people. I don't like hateful people, toxic people, and I try to remove them, block them, so I don't have to interact with them. But then where you're from doesn't matter. If you're a bad person, you're a bad person, and I won't defend you regardless of the color of your skin. And if you are a good person, then I will defend you regardless of the color of your skin. So to me, it doesn't matter. Thank you, Hose. Are you playing Total War? Rome, maybe Rome 2 with mods? I would love to see you rewrite history. Yeah, at one point I will. I gotta defend it, but maybe I will start with Total War Warhammer first, because I'm kind of into that mood. But eventually, absolutely. Eventually, absolutely. Thank you so much, guys, for your support and generosity, as always. As always. Thank you very much. Will I play GTA 6? Yes, but there are a few other games that I'm more interested in, to be honest. But GTA 6 is going to be great to play. I had no idea Metatron was based, but thank you, Dr. Crowley. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah, so Ooh, we got a massive super chat. Thank you so much for your huge $50. Thank you, Pate. Not a grifter. I was personally hurt by his Muslim and Palestinian comment, but his apology video was very authentic and I believed him. Sure, yeah. I had to part ways due to his views on immigration. I don't believe anyone is illegal. Yeah, okay, so this is actually an interesting topic, and I absolutely understand it. And I think you're very open minded to accept someone's. Sometimes I think people speak, and the reason why I'm open minded to apologies when they feel genuine is because you never know what's behind people's words, and I do that with my comments. Usually I'm polite in my comment even when people are brutal and disgusting in the comment towards me, unless they cross a line. And that's because sometimes when I'm about to type, so someone said something very rude, and this has happened to me over 12 years. I'm about to type and I'm gonna say, well, you tell that to your brother. Like, I'm really pissed, but then I stop and I think, well, I don't really know what's behind this person. Maybe, who knows, maybe they lost a family member, maybe they're going through a difficult time, maybe they're struggling in their life. And so I try to respond. I'll still respond. I'll still say, well, I think what you're saying is out of place. But then again, I wish you all the best of luck and thank you for leaving a comment. That's what I do. The reason why I do that is because if they are actually toxic, then they will respond back and they will say, no, you're a grifter, you're disgusting, you're racist, blah. And then at that, or you're woke. And then at that point, then I'm going to come back to it and I will speak in kind. But I noticed that if it's someone who's gone through a difficult time, they'll say it. I'm speaking from experience. I get 20,000 comments a month. I'm speaking from experience. And I noticed that when I'm polite to someone who's being rude, if they were just having a bad moment, and so that influenced their take, they'll come back and they'll apologize. They'll say, I'm so sorry, man, for saying that. I don't know what got me. And some people have shared. Not that it's a justification to be rude, but from my point of view, the way I like approaching life, I prefer to not let it get me, right? I prefer to laugh about it, don't think about it too much, and give people the benefit of the doubt, because then you'll see them. And if it's a man or a woman of honor, they will apologize and will say, I'm sorry for what I said, and I don't know what got off me, and then I'll say, no worries, man. It happens to the best of us. So when an apology feels sincere, I'm fine with it. Now, when it comes to immigration, I'm an immigrant. I am an immigrant in the USA. So, of course, I think as long as people... this is how I would put it, and I don't care if it offends. If people love the country where they are immigrating to, they're interested in learning about the culture, and they're not immigrating in any country to hate, then I say they're welcome. Of course, there has to be, I understand what you're saying. I would say no human being is illegal on planet Earth, but when it comes to countries, there are laws, there are regulations, and if you don't follow a pattern, when it comes to immigration, the system could collapse, and we might not be able to help people if the numbers are not under control. So yeah, there has to be a system. I personally don't like the idea of using this term, but at the same time, you can't just open gates and enter everything. You need to have, like, when I immigrated in the US, they had to do background checks on me. They checked and they noticed that I served in the military. I served in the Italian military navy. They asked me a few questions. They asked me if I had any affiliations. They did a full background check. They saw that I hadn't broken the law in any way, and so that was good, right? And then they saw that I was a contributing member of society. And that was the same when I emigrated to Japan. Now, I understand that for some people, Japanese don't count because they are white adjacent. That's nonsense. But I moved to Japan. I respected their culture. I respected the people. Whenever there was a misunderstanding, I always kept in mind that I was the person who was not from there. So I'm not going to expect them to think the way I do. And I'm not going to try to impose my views on those people because I am the guest and I want to be respectful. I would be respectful. Likewise, if I had to immigrate into any country in Africa, I would not go there and start talking shit about their culture and custom. Then why did I even go there? So even though I'm a very open-minded person, and I think that I'm happy to see, but I love interacting with people of all sorts of minorities, and I have no prejudice against them. I want to say this: if you hate the West, stay out of the West. And I'm going to leave it at that. But thank you for sharing your opinion. I appreciate that. And that's a moderate take, by the way. Before people say, oh, it's unbelievable. That's a moderate take, guys. That's a moderate take. Thank you. Gizgamesh says, never stop speaking facts, bro. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'll never stop speaking my mind, whether it offends or not. But then again, the only people that get offended are people that have a very, very high bar, or should I say a very low bar of acceptance of other people's opinions, and they're basically in a cult. People that go nuts for takes like this, that don't involve any hatred in any way, shape, or form, they're in a cult. And at that point, I don't care about what they think. People will disagree. They will tell me, no, I disagree because of this. Great. But people that are like, blah, 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 just go something in their head at that point. Oh yeah, no, Astral raises a good point, and he says, don't you think immigrants can comment on the country they work and pay taxes to? Absolutely. Totally. You know, I'm a massive supporter of freedom of speech, and so I do say, yes, absolutely, anyone should be able to speak their mind. Let's keep in mind, though, the freedom of speech protects speech. So if you do something that involves actions, that's not protected by the First Amendment here in the United States. So it's a case by case. Someone says, but then again, if they completely hate it, why did they move to that country at that point? I think at least a little bit of respect, the same respect that I would show. Like, imagine if someone comes to Italy and starts saying Italy's horrible, Italians are disgusting, their culture is terrible, their religion is atrocious, I hate the way they look, I hate the way they speak. But why are you in Italy at that point? I wouldn't do it to any country. You could still, but I agree with you. If there are some things you don't like about the system, you can totally speak your mind. And I would never try to remove that ability from you, ever. Imagine someone is saying, oh, we need to put pineapple on pizza. Then no, absolutely not. You could take the pineapple and put it on the pizza in your country, for crying out loud. That's where we are. And that's where we are. Matthew A says, thoughts on Sweden? I don't know, because I haven't really reviewed their situation. I don't know if you're speaking about immigration. I am not I'm not updated, so I can't share my thoughts. Not really the topic of this stream, but maybe on another situation I would be able to do it, to talk about it. Daniele Fabro says, careful, Metatron, you're in America, not Italy. Yeah, exactly. And by the way things are starting to look in Europe, I'm actually happy to be in America. Land of the free. Not a perfect country by any stretch of definition. But the fact that I can post something on social media and I don't have to worry about it, whether it's going to have consequences, then I'm happy to be in America. Still things need to be fixed. Absolutely. I'm happy to be in America. I've even received a letter, I think you know this, but the government in immigration, I got a letter from Immigration and Border Control, I think it's called, and I got a letter from the government, and they said that I'm now allowed to begin my application to receive American citizenship. I will do that. It might take a few years. I'm already discussing with my immigration lawyer. So far, it's been great. He's helped me through going through the process of getting a green card and then get it extended as well. And yeah, so I'll do that. And then I know already my wife and I have decided that our children will be Americans. And yeah, I will also teach them Italian because I want them to have a connection with the old world, if you will. But I also will teach them to be proud of being Americans. I'll teach them to be proud of the history that connects us to our ancestors. And the same way, I would encourage someone of an African American or an Asian American, for instance, heritage. I think they should be proud of the history and the things that they love and the culture and whatnot. But I'm not going to tell my kids, no, but it's problematic. Don't say that you're proud of European. And no, do say it. Absolutely. That's what I'm teaching my kids. Yeah. I'm a different kind of Italian American. My kids will be Italian American, literally. Because, you know, one parent is American. And the way we're going to do it linguistically, by the way, because I have, of course, training since I'm a linguist and a trained teacher, is that I told my wife what we're going to do, and she agrees with that, is when we have a daughter or a son, you speak to mommy in English, you speak to daddy in Italian. That's how it's going to be. And believe me, that's sufficient. As long as you do it within the window of the first 3 years of life, they'll be 100% bilingual. And then you have to continue it, otherwise their vocabulary will be kind of poor. But as long as you keep doing that, by the times they're like teenagers, they'll be 100% native in both. That's what we're going to do. Not Sicilian? That's a good question. No. We talked about it. All I would do when it comes to Sicilian, I will teach them the odd word, just for fun. So like how in Sicily, when we want to say, come on, in Italian, you would say, dai, andiamo. So come on, let's go. But in Sicilian, we say, amuni. Amuni. It's a cute sounding word. So I'll teach them words like this. The occasional Sicilian word to remind them that daddy's from Sicily. Yeah, I will do it, but Italian will be the language. I want them to have a language that they can actually use in a work environment, in a business environment, in a teaching environment. Because, you know, you never know. Maybe in the future, my kid, when they are 18, and by the way, I'm going to start saving. I think I'm going to create a separate bank account where I'm never going to withdraw, and I'm going to put something like maybe $100 a month in that account. I'll do it for the next 20 years. So when they are 18, I'll give them the entirety of the money. What they want to do with that, it's entirely up to them. If my kid wants to invest in an education, they will. If my kid wants to use it because for their passions and whatever they love doing, they can do it. But at that point, I'll make sure they will be provided, because for me, since I grew up in a family that was struggling financially, my mom and my dad did a lot of sacrifices to be able to pay for my first year of university. But after that, they could not afford to send me any money whatsoever when I moved from Sicily to Naples. Luckily, I didn't have to stop. Not only because in Italy it's a lot less expensive, but even in that scenario, we were struggling to be able, because you still have to pay rent, you still have to pay food, you still have to buy the books, regardless of the fact that education taxes are not the same as, by any stretch of definition, they would be in the US. But luckily, I was so passionate about what I was studying, Japanese, Chinese, history, medieval history, ancient Rome, that I got 3 scholarships. And so that was, I think I got something like $15,000 or $20,000 from the European fund. And because of that, I paid myself for the entirety of my stay during the 4 years that I needed for university. And basically, I graduated for free. 0 debt. Luckily, that happened. A little bit of family story. But I don't want my kid to have to make sacrifices, the sacrifices that I made. I want my kid, I'll try not to spoil them, teach them to be, you know, grateful for what we have. But at the same time, I want to do the best I can to make sure that they will have the best life possible. But one thing that we can do is definitely bring them up bilingual, because this way, if my kid is confused and they don't know what to do, they do have a career opportunity. You're bilingual. You could teach English in Italy, or you could teach Italian in the US, or wherever the heck you want. So at least they have that. They have that ability. It will be an easy skill that they have without having to do anything. It's kind of an investment. And then if they don't want to do that, they want to become a ballerina, become a ballerina. Want to be a barista, become a barista. We've got a few fan funding. Thank you very much, guys. Let's see. So, Spectre says, Meta, I just want to check something. I've already seen it with 2 other Italian streamers. One that's fearful and hungry, and another that's a big cat. Can you say focus, focus, focus? Oh, I think they sound like they're saying the bad word. No, I know how to do the actual Anglophone O. And I know that this is a sort of impoverished vowel, like the vowel in cupboard. You don't say cupboard, but you say cupboard or Oxford. No, I'm familiar with that. So I'm just going to pronounce it the way I would normally, which is focus. Sorry, it doesn't work with me. Apologies. And then don't be so open-minded your brain falls out. Yep. Data, you real man of culture. Keep doing what you're doing. I love to watch your videos and I learn a lot. Thank you so much, Data. Good to have you here. Bloodstain, hey, good supporter of the channel. What if they spend it on crypto and NFTs? Well, I'll try to do my best to teach them the ways I think that are the best in order to be smart when it comes to life. But once again, if my kid makes a mistake as an adult, they're still my kid. Protect them against the world, right? I'll try to do my best to teach them what I think are the best way to approach life. And so maybe I'll tell them to stay away from that. But at the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned, it's their money, it's their life. I'll do my best. But once they're teenagers, it's different. Your job is to defend them. Children, you got to protect them. That's your job. You do not allow them to make mistakes or you don't allow a kid to put his fingers, a child, into a power outlet, but just simply because I need to respect their freedom. No, not in that case. It is my responsibility to make sure that they don't do it, because they don't have the development of the prefrontal cortex, among other things, to be able to understand the danger. But once they're adults, then hopefully the fruits of parenting will have done enough for the kid to be able to make their own mind and make the right decisions. But sometimes people have to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes. Thank you, Daniel. It's not much, but a little contribution from Metatron Jr. Appreciate that, Daniel. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Very, very much appreciated. Yeah. Lunch says, if US had the food quality of EU, it would actually be the best country on earth. Yeah, hopefully, I'm hoping that, yeah, sometimes when I see the amount of sodium and sugar, I hope that this gets fixed. Honestly, I really hope that it gets fixed, because I look at the ingredients, non-sponsored. It's not, this video is non-sponsored by Starbucks, man. Could you imagine that? Hello, this is the Metatron speaking. Today we're going to talk about the power and rise of the Roman Empire. But before we're doing that, I'd like to mention a kind sponsor that made this video possible, Starbucks. Are you craving for a cold macchiato, mocha, white chocolate latte? Surely the ancient Romans would have loved that. Could you imagine that? Yeah, I'll take the money though. If Starbucks wants to sponsor me, send over a couple of thousand, I would be happy to do it. Man, I'm going to find a connection. I'll trust me. I'll find a connection with ancient Rome. What could the Romans have achieved if they could have been caffeinated? That's actually a good question now that I think about it. What would the Romans have achieved if they could have been caffeinated on top of? That's a fantastic question. The stuff we discover on this channel. Thank you, Fire Pixie. That's a lovely name, by the way. Just found your channel. Really enjoy you. Thank you so much. Appreciate having you here. Why not trilingual? In my experience, as someone who speaks 7 languages, in my experience, it is advantageous to reach at least fluency in your second language before you begin to approach foreign language acquisition into a third. That's what I did. So, of course, native Italian, native Sicilian, I started with 2. If you say, no, Sicilian is not technically a language, yeah, we could go into the discussion of what defines a language and what defines a dialect usually, and I do agree with that. It's not a matter of linguistics, it's a matter of social linguistics, because at the end of the day, a dialect is a language without an army and a navy. But regardless of that, I do still speak it, and it's a communicative system, so I will add it to the list. Italian and Sicilian is what I was brought up with. But then on top of that, I picked up English in my late teens when I moved to the UK. Then I reached fluency in Japanese because it was my major at university. And then I moved to Japan, spent 4 years there. I did reach not fluency, but conversational, maybe lower conversational level in Mandarin because it was my minor at university. And then on top of that, in high school, I studied French and Spanish. So as someone who does this every time, before I tackle another language, reach fluency. If you want to know what fluency is, well, from the perspective of the European framework of reference, I would say at least B2. At least a B2. Personally, I would say a high B2, but whatever. At least a high B2. If you're not at least upper intermediate, you should not try to get a third language because it's not going to work. You're just going to learn, you're going to learn about these languages at that point, but you won't be able to turn on a camera and speak. You won't be able to, if I meet a Japanese, as I have done several times here in the US, at a museum, in a coffee shop, I can just switch. It's effortless. But to reach that, it needed a little bit of, it needed a method, first and foremost. Remember, people usually, when they say I want to learn a language, they mean they want to learn to speak it. It doesn't mean they want to learn to speak about it. And that's what happens when your system is not effective. Yeah. I just want flavored coffee. Yeah, no, sure. I mean, just the other day, I wanted to try because I was playing a horror game. And in this horror game, it's hilarious, by the way. I'm going to post it on my gaming channel soon. But in this horror game, at one point, they're like, make a white chocolate mocha. And I was like, what on earth? I don't know what it is. So I'm like, what's a white chocolate mocha? So I stopped the game, and my wife and I got on the car. We went to Starbucks. I actually turned on the camera. I filmed myself drinking the white chocolate mocha, which I actually liked. It was good. It's just, to me, it's not coffee, it's a dessert. But once I frame it that way, then I'm like, okay, it's a coffee-inspired dessert. Then I can actually enjoy it. And a toll, though. Never go beyond the toll. And then I went back and I continued the video game. So that happened. Filmed. It's all on film, by the way. It's all on film. Yeah. Question from Twitch. Question from Twitch. What would you say is the easiest language to learn? There are some languages that are objectively easier, but there are also languages that are subjectively easier. So it's really a blend of things. First and foremost, if you want a language that is really easy, I would suggest you to choose a language you love, because your passion will make it a lot easier for you to dedicate the number of hours that you'll need in order to reach fluency. Secondly, it depends on your first language. So if you're a Spanish speaker, then Italian will be quite easy, but if you're a Korean native, the difficulty of learning Italian will be different proportionally. So very much has to do from that. But then, yeah, and then we can discuss about the actual objective difficulties, because if you have cases, obviously the language is harder, kind of a deeper, there isn't one answer fits all. Turn the volume up. I think you can do that on your side. Good stuff. Not true, Melone. You're actually incorrect. You say I didn't talk about Asmongold. I did. The entire introduction of this video was all about Asmongold, but I do want to start watching. So let's do that. Let's do that. Okay. Let's have a look what we've got. So the first video I wanted to have a look at. How about we look at this one? Not the whole video. Well, 17 minutes is actually not too bad. Well, let's see if I agree or disagree. Do you guys think I'm too quiet? Because my microphone, I'm gonna show you in fact. 1 second, because I wanna, yeah. So, it looks like when I speak, I'm around mid-range green. What do you guys think? Is it too low? You can hear me fine? Yeah, you're the only one professional biologist, so I think you'll have to increase. Everyone else says I sound good, so just increase the volume on your end. It's the only thing I can say. And then we're gonna test it now compared to Asmongold voice, because we want to keep them similar. I'll need your help, guys, to do that. Let's give it a try. All right, let's see how it is.
The problem with women in games, well, there's a lot of them. But okay, let's hear about this.
All right, so how does my voice sound compared to his? How does my voice sound compared to his? Someone says good. Muy bien. Smooth. Yeah, we're good. Perfect. Similar levels. A few people said low. I'll just have to ask you to increase a little bit your volume on your end. But thank you very much for the patience. And I can try and speak a little louder, by the way. But let's go. What problems do we have with women in games? Let's go. Let's see if I agree.
This one.
It just makes you wonder, because if certain games let you create characters with so much charm and magnetism, why can't games with dedicated female leads do the same thing? Well, what are some of the more recent female leads that we've been graced with? I think about Frey from Forspoken. She can fight dragons and—
I think that she's attractive. I do. I think people are porn-brained if they don't think that she's attractive.
Sure, I agree. Yeah, she's an attractive woman, sure.
At least in that image, she's attractive.
bend the laws of physics and literally parkour across dimensions. That's super cool. But for some reason, they gave her the most awkward dialogue and had her deliver every line like she was on hold with customer service. On mute. What about Kay Vess from Star Wars Outlaw?
Can't say the same.
This already, personally, I think every person can be attracted or not attracted by all sorts of types. So, whatever. Yeah, I don't find her particularly attractive either, but maybe someone will. I don't know. But let's continue.
She's a scrappy space outlaw, in theory. In practice, she kind of just plays like she just respawned from a bug and isn't sure where she is or why she's there. Okay, well, what about female Ivor from Assassin's Creed Valhalla? Actually, she
looks awesome.
was canonically the real one. But you probably wouldn't know that because even Ubisoft was like, dang, that's crazy. Anyway, check out this guy's beard.
Yep,
Or
of course.
Dragon Age the Veilguard.
Ooh.
This game was like 10 years in the oven and somehow it still came out.
Well, it got overcooked. That's the problem. The reason why
I agree, but then again, you know that I can't stand Dragon Age Veilguard, so there is that. Thank you very much for the support. Have you done a video on the Siege of Tyre? No, not yet, actually, but thank you for the suggestion. Appreciate the support. Yeah, let's see what he's going to say about Dragon Age Veilguard. Let's see if he takes it too far, or if we actually agree on everything, or if we disagree. Let's see.
why they have these issues is because it's built off of a false reality that men and women are interchangeable. And the way that they approach life, struggles, issues, and the way that they think are the same. And the big problem is that they're not. So when you take a male character and then you replace it with a female character, and then you give it the same intuitions, the same impulses, and the same responses that a male character would have, it's off-putting and weird because men and women are different. Their roles in society are different.
So far, I'm going to say so good. I didn't hear anything particularly hateful. I didn't see anything. I think is what he said is correct. I do want to say that just as a little minutia, when he says, of course, there are biological differences between male and females, that's a fact. For example, when it comes to overall strength percentage and all of that kind of stuff and proclivities, there are outliers. But in general, when we talk about averages, the cultural aspect is a little less cut and dry in the sense that depending on the culture, gender roles will vary slightly. If you take, like, for instance, feudal Japan or even modern Japan, and you compare it to gender roles in the West, or you compare it to gender roles in a Muslim country, then they differ. But with that being said, I agree with him. Up to this point, I think is correct.
And weird because men and women are different. Their roles in society are different. They're different down to, again, a chromosomal level, and everything about them is different. So you can't just simply replace a male and a female protagonist in a narrative-based game and expect the story to be told the same way.
Sure. Fine.
That's the reason.
That's a fine take with me. Someone is saying, but don't just use one. I know. I've got several tabs open. We're going to watch a few. Absolutely.
Why.
That's fine. It's a fine take.
It often felt cringy instead of charming, and there really wasn't much mystery, but there was a lot of lecturing. And instead of emotionally rich companions, we kind of just got chronically online Twitter bios in fantasy outfits. I think you get the point, but I'm gonna say it anyway. We need female characters with range, with presence, with a little drama, if you will. The girls who made you feel something were not perfect. They were messy and charismatic and complicated in the best way. Sadie Adler from
there's, like, I mean, look at Expedition 33, right? I mean, all of those female characters are very well written.
Do you agree? Because I haven't played Expedition 33, so now we kind of moved from what could be considered a political take to a gaming take. I have heard a lot of people saying Expedition 33 is good. Do you guys agree? Because we are not here just to talk about culture war. We're here to talk about games. We're about to talk about history in case he talks about it. And let me see. People seem to agree. Yes. Okay, then we're going to have to play it. Then he's correct on the gaming side. Let me see if people on Twitch agree with that. What do you guys say? A reaction to reaction. Yeah, she's the lady that actually got 100,000 subscribers. And I think she's nice. She sounds lovely. So yeah, I'm going to watch her videos as well. Expedition 33, yeah. All right, good. We'll play it then. We'll play it on Twitch. How about that? We're going to play that on Twitch one of these evenings. I'm going to buy it and we'll play it. If you guys agree, we'll do it.
I think the problem is that, I think this is my opinion, is that I think a lot of female writers try to write female characters in opposition to what a female character has traditionally been. And so in writing a character in opposition of what was the normal female character design, what ends up happening is that you're not creating it's like kind of like a card, right? And so like a card can't stand up by itself. It has to be leaning against another card. So they write this personality to lean up against the old personality of one-dimensional boob characters, and that's it. And so if you take one of these away, they both fall apart. And that's because neither of these different things can stand on their own at all.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I would like to only provide a caveat. I don't think it's a lot of women writers that do this. I think it's mostly activists, the ones that do it in the craziest sense, such as Dragon Age Veilguard. But everything he said, based. He did not say anything wrong. Also, I would like to say, I don't know if he's like this on every single video, but up to this point, the people that say, oh, he's stealing content because he lets the video play, then he pauses, says, yeah, and then starts again. To me, this actually seems like quite transformative in nature. He's adding quite a lot. I don't know if he does it every time, but for this video so far, that's an incorrect take. Now, he's providing sufficient commentary for this to be, at least from a legal perspective, transformative in nature for fair use cases.
You already have multiple examples, like Ripley is a great example of this. There's multiple examples of female characters and stories that I think are written relatively well, but you have to write them in a way that's true to the female experience to an extent, and understand that they are not an interchangeable unit with a man. And I think that the more that you write women and you do it with a chip on your shoulder, as if, no, she's not going to be the princess that gets saved, this is weird.
Yeah.
Like, you're not writing to tell a story, you're writing to prove something.
Dead too?
He's correct. There are exceptions. I think a good, strong woman that they did create, and I think they did it fantastic, they did a great job, is Samus from Metroid, even back in the day. I just think the reason why that works is because she was not written, like he's saying, because they were trying to push a message. She was written out of a creative liberty that was trying to craft a story because they loved the idea, and also it made sense within the sci-fi context because she's using her power armor to be able to achieve what she's achieving. So it makes logical sense. I'm not seeing a girl that has a wrist of this size taking on 3 monsters of men in combat. I'm seeing something that makes logical sense within its situation, and she's beautifully written, and I really like Samus. Is one of my favorite female characters. Another one is Chun-Li. I have no problems with Chun-Li. So I think, as he says, I agree with him. The problem is when it happens because the writer has a chip on the shoulder that's trying to push a message, and you can see it. We can see it right through them.
Her husband literally dies, and she goes, cool, I'm going feral now. And grieving? Yes. Stunning? Yes. Horse girl? Absolutely. But I would let her run
There's
me
plenty of examples of that in history, like Boudica, right? Like, that's the first one I can think of. I mean,
yeah, you're correct. Samus is still pretty strong outside the suit. Yeah, it also depends on the art you look at. But then again, it's a different kind of strong character. Take Samus and compare it with Abby from The Last of Us 2. Also a strong woman. Can we say that Samus is a 10 out of 10 and Abby is a 0 out of 10? Thank you.
It's a messy history, right? But like, and there are examples of this where it happens. So true, yeah.
over with that horse.
You know what I did when I played? Because I finished The Last of Us 2, guys. I finished The Last of Us 2. You know what I did? I hated Abby so much, mostly because of what she does earlier on in the game. Don't want to spoil. But I hated Abby so much that when I was forced by the silly writers of the game to play as Abby for a freaking 8 hours, whatever the heck it was, I kept jumping off cliffs. That's what I did. Anyways.
Chloe Frazer from Uncharted. She's flirty and morally flexible and somehow still makes betrayal feel hot. Tifa Lockhart from Final Fantasy. She could literally take...
Okay, round of applause for Tifa. Please write W in chat for Tifa Lockhart. Where is she? Wait, I need her right now.
Hot. Tifa Lockhart.
Round of applause for Tifa. Tifa is based. By the way, Tifa is a martial artist. Isn't she the only character in Final Fantasy VII, at least the original, that fights fists with her? And yet it worked perfectly. Everyone else is a weapon for what I remember, including the other girls and the guys. But Tifa's great. Tifa's fantastic. Also because she is, to be honest, conventionally attractive. Nothing wrong, by the way, with being attracted to a beautiful woman, and nothing wrong to be attracted to a handsome man. What is insane is when they try to take something that is hardwired in our biology to find certain features with a margin of difference between people, of course, but in general we are attracted to certain features because they are connected to fertility, health, and then personal preference with a certain level of cultural influence onto our preferences. But in general, there's nothing wrong with being attracted to beauty. There's nothing wrong with beauty. Nothing wrong with it. Thank you. Hey, Ray Gonzalez, the king. The king is here, guys. The king is here. The king supporter. A valid reaction to playing as Abby. Yeah, I know. My gosh, I hated that part so much. You have no idea. I mean, to be fair, the other character I didn't like was Ellie because she kept using bigot to everyone. Like, could you imagine the opposite? Could you imagine you played Last of Us 3 in an alternative reality, Last of Us 2, sorry, in an alternative reality where instead Ellie was constantly calling people woke? Could you imagine? It would annoy the shit out of me. I would be like, can you stop? And she was like, you're so woke. Could you? Well, that's what happens at the beginning, at least, of Last of Us 2, which kind of rubbed me wrong a bit because she was like, you're a bigot. You're such a bigot. And I'm like, what am I playing? That happened. But regardless of that, it's funny someone says sounds based. Well, yeah, as I say, not everyone is like me. I'm sure that there are some players who play the game, and when she said she called someone bigger, they were like, yeah, strike it, girl, and it's fine. If you like it, freedom, my friend. I'm just sharing a personal feeling that I would be annoyed by people using that sort of language in a game that has nothing to do with those sort of themes and discussions. But that's where we are. Goodness gracious. Ellie, I didn't like Ellie very much, but Abby was terrible. Abby, was terrible. Thank you, Ortelius. Metatron, can you explain the Testa di Moro, legend from Sicilia? Probably on a dedicated, on a video when we speak about the history of Sicily, which we will, probably even on live stream. So I'll do that. Thank you very much. And Mr. Accessite, I have been watching content for over a year, finally caught a stream. Thank you for your intellectual authenticity and historical analysis. I've learned a great deal because of it. Thank you so much for being here. Very much appreciated. And I am live every day, Monday to Friday, 5 Central Standard Time. Thank you very much. Okay. Let's continue, ladies and gentlemen. Let's continue.
Lockhart from Final Fantasy. She could literally take down a behemoth in one hit and then quietly make you some soup and ask if you've been sleeping okay. But when I think about just well-written women in games, what's interesting is some of gaming's best women were not even the protagonist, but they were the scene stealers. Ciri from The Witcher 3 is quite literally the entire reason that Geralt is risking his life across these war-torn kingdoms, and she's this complicated, beautiful, just wild young girl who's somehow still more mature than everyone else around her. Or Yuna from Final Fantasy X, this graceful, selfless, and devastating character who's literally carrying the hopes of an entire world on her back.
And I think also, like, especially whenever you have action games, there's like a certain degree of like just historically, right? I mean, men usually fight for and defend women. This is usually what happens because of biology and about 5,000 to 10,000 years of history, probably longer than that.
Longer than that.
And so this story makes a lot more sense because this is always the way things have been. And also you have examples, from Final Fantasy 14, you know, Yashlada or like any of the other characters on there. Many of the female characters were written extremely well, but they weren't the exact same as the male characters.
Yeah.
And then she's still
I will add, guys, and this is, again, there is the other perspective too, but I want to speak about my perspective. I honestly think, historically, but even today, when a man has the support of a good woman and a good wife, he will, to use a word, be empowered to move mountains. It's just how we function. It's just how it is. Just sharing my opinion. Now I want to do a poll, and this is going to be a difficult poll. I'm going to do it on both Twitch and YouTube. Who is your favorite between Tifa and Yuna. Let's see who wins, guys. That's a difficult one. I know mine. I'll tell you mine in a second. I'm gonna do it on Twitch as well. Let's go. Who is your favorite? And let's go for Tifa, Yuna. And let's give it 2 minutes. Start poll. Let's go. Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win, guys? Let's see if my opinion is the same as I don't want to be disrespectful to the lady here, so let's just move you guys a little bit. Please, guys, don't be disrespectful. Stop covering. So let's see what we think. And then we'll see if I agree with you or not. The poll is ongoing, ladies and gentlemen. Respect the poll. Respect the poll. How are we doing with numbers, by the way? Pretty good on Twitch. How are we doing on YouTube? In the meantime, let me check. Can someone? I'm sure you can see it quicker than me because I don't want to move this. How many people watching right now? Do you guys know? On YouTube? Trying to see. 1.6. Excellent. That's a new record then. So good to have you here. So who's going to win, guys? Thank you so much for the numbers. Appreciate 1,633. I really appreciate that. So good to have you here, by the way, all of you. Thank you very much. If anyone here is new, wonderful to have you. Okay. So almost, guys. Look at the bar. Look at the little purple bar. It's going down. It's going down. And while I wait for you to make your mind, I want to play with my voice a little bit.
You will choose between Tifa and Yuna.
So that was the demon voice. And now I'm going to say the same with the angel voice. You will choose between Tifa and Yuna. How about that? How about that, you Muppets? How about that, you Muppets? So who's winning? Almost there. Almost finished. Thank you so much, Dracus, for becoming a member. Appreciate that. Well, yeah, I mean, that's a men like what we like. What can I say? And boom. So on Twitch, Tifa is the winner. And here on YouTube, Tifa wins 74% on Twitch, on YouTube, 81% on Twitch. Garnet. Okay, Jeremiah. And thank you very much for voting. Believe it or not, I disagree. I like Yuna more, but I do understand that the reason is, I don't know, there is something about Yuna that I really like when it comes to my personal, but I do understand because Tifa is objectively the most, I want to say, physically attractive. But there is something about Yuna that I would choose Yuna. But then again, here we are. Thank you for sharing your opinion. Let's continue, guys.
Apologizes when she inconveniences you, and if that's not being a girl, I don't know what is. And while Western games are nervously nerfing kind of every trace of femininity from their female characters, Eastern devs are like, yeah.
That's exactly it. They don't want to make feminine characters because they feel like feminine characters are diminutive. That's the problem.
That is so insulting. Personally, the women is so insulting.
I think it's weird because, like, is this like some form of like internalized misogyny that like women have against themselves?
Once again, I would say activists. I wouldn't say women, but sure. Yeah, that was funny, the Canadian comment.
In a way, it feels that way.
Here's a mysterious woman who could kill you and make you cry about it. You're welcome. Capcom? They've been in their iconic woman era since, like, forever. Resident Evil is one of my all-time favorite series, and Jill is tactical, calm, and easily has the cleanest bob in gaming. Ada is mysterious, stylish, and she might lie to your face, but she's still gonna get a fan cam. Claire is this beautiful, kind, capable woman who takes zero nonsense.
Yeah, she is based, by the way. I understand why she's getting 100,000 subscribers, apart from the fact that, of course, it's due to the spotlight that she got from Asmongold. We discussed that, but she deserves it. She's really good. One thing I want to say is, we are in a situation where, unless we look at indie games, when we look at AAA, I'm generalizing, but we are in a position where now Eastern developers mostly in Asia, create the best women online for video games, and Western developers in AAA are losing it. They're losing it, and it's a shame. But luckily, indie games, I think, will save it. Indie games will save it. And it's so funny when people go with the disingenuous route that they tell me, oh, well, why don't you watch Prawn then? Are you going to do this? Are you going to do that to the image? You need to be the prawn star and whatnot. No, you're being stupid, because I can appreciate the attractiveness of a woman without having to necessarily connect. If you have a problem in your head, if that's how you think things work. Of course, I'm physically attracted by beautiful women, obviously, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that I'm some kind of maniacal degenerate now just because I'm saying, man, this woman is objectively gorgeous, or I'm attracted by this woman. It's ridiculous. You know why? Because if you think that that's intrinsically wrong, then how did you come into existence, you absolute idiot? To the hypothetical idiot, that is.
And Lady D had like 10 minutes of screen time in Village,
She's really
and she
hot.
still
Yeah.
owned Halloween for like the next 2 years. They're hot.
Yep.
They're cool. They've got so much range. And you remember
Yeah,
that.
it's the entire premise that, like, well, what women really want to play is they want to play an aggressive, masculine, ugly woman that's unlikable, that tries to pretend to be a man and is simultaneously flawless, but has these obvious flaws as well that don't matter, that are actually good things. It's like basically the way that they write women characters, it's almost like whenever it's like it's as dishonest as whenever you answer the question on a resume, what's your biggest weakness? It's like, I try too hard. That's basically it.
That's a
You want
fun way
be
to put
them,
it.
Or you just kind of want them to emotionally damage you just a little bit. It's the same kind of energy with Monster Hunter
Serious.
Wilds. They dropped a couple of composed, stunning women, and the internet instantly started to cosplay. They're expressive.
Absolutely. Yes, I'm aware, of course, St. Nicholas is saying, you do know that asexuals can breed. Well, of course, obviously, I do know, but asexual people are a very small minority, so clearly I'm generalizing here. I'm not going to mention every single subcategory of my, because I wouldn't be able to provide a commentary at that point. I understand that asexual people exist, but what is more likely, that the person who accuses everyone of being prawn-minded, actually that one of his parents was asexual and they could feel a romantic entanglement but had no sexual attraction, but they still decided to have a kid? What's more likely? Or that the two parents were physically attracted by each other in a sexual way? I mean, come on. We are talking about, right? I like you. I'm not trying to be annoying, but I'm just saying, let's just be realistic on which one is the most probable.
And graceful, and they've just got that.
Well, and it's also that, like, even the older...
Thank you very much, Some Random, for gifting 5 Metatron memberships. I really appreciate your generosity. Thank you for the support. Thank you. I'm just trying to level with you, Nicholas, just getting back to them. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, just leveling.
woman, I forgot her name in Monster Hunter Wilds, like there's nothing that's like diminutive or whatever or negative about her. It's nothing weird. It's just simply a story, and it's normal.
Magnetism about them.
Yeah.
And that's why the boys are in
Olivia,
love,
yeah,
the
there you go,
girls are
Olivia,
in
yeah, there
love,
you go.
and I am in love. And then we've got From Software, who just casually releases the most haunting, elegant women in modern gaming
Yeah.
like it's nothing. The doll from Bloodborne, our favorite Victorian comfort character. She's soft-spoken, she's gentle, and she definitely knows more than she's letting on.
And she's a sex doll that Gurman made of another girl that he liked.
Oh, gosh. Okay, so we've got a couple of super chats and a few people I want to thank on Twitch. Black Wolf for 69 for subscribing with Prime. We're going to play some games tonight, my friend. So, yeah, that's a good choice. Thank you very much. And then we have got support from KJL291. Thank you for the support. I agree with Asmon sometimes. They agree at the time, same. But I've never gotten the sense that it was anything less than 100% genuine. Exactly the same take as me. 100%. 100%. So, thank you. And then I see someone... Okay. I see what you're talking about, Tsundere630. I'm not going to read your comment right now because it's a strong accusation when it comes to the NAZI, which I can't mention anyways because I would get a yellow dollar sign. It's just that because I haven't had the chance to double check what you are presenting as a fact, then I cannot argue whether it's real or not. Then again, due to the fact that someone like Alec Gunter, if you remember, called me an NAZI and it was false, now I automatically go for innocent until proven guilty for any accusation. And personally, this man down here does not give me the vibe of being an NAZI. I don't think he is. So that's where I'm going to leave it, but thank you for sharing your opinion anyways.
That's right. Yep. Based.
Or Lady Maria, tragic, terrifying character with perfect posture, and 10 out of 10, I would let her fight me again. Or Ronnie from Elden Ring, who I was quite literally on my knees for, and I made sure to do every single step of her quest.
Well, what
so
about
I could
the Dark
serve her
Souls
as
1?
me,
That
Elden
was my
Lord.
favorite.
Or Melina. Oh, Melina was so glowing
let's go to Dark
and
Souls
quiet
1.
and just sad. And then when she leaves you at the side of grace, like, my work here is done. And you're just devastated, and you're just sitting there all by yourself, alone, in your little tunic. These ladies do not need exposition dumps.
Could you imagine, because of her positions and what she's saying, could you imagine someone calling her a right-wing grifter, a NAZI, a fascist? Could you imagine that? This girl is on the complete opposite spectrum of what I would define as toxic. She's like, if you put toxic here at the end, she's at the other end of the spectrum. I know they will. And that's insane. Because let's be honest, she's here. Here. I don't even know how you could go further left. From left, I don't mean politically. I'm saying in this scale, probably for you, in fact, is right. I don't know if you're seeing this opposite way, but I think I made my case. And here we are. You're absolutely right. Yeah, everyone is an NAZI, a fascist, a commie. Everyone is that. Yeah, definitely overused. But thank you so much for being here, you Muppets.
Or 80 cutscenes. They just show up and drip elegance, drop one line of vague sorrow, and then next thing you know, you're obsessing over cosplays and fan art for like the next month.
Well, it's because the characters are attractive too. That's another really big important thing that a lot of characters, a lot of people don't understand, is that Western artists and Western developers, especially American developers, nobody wants to cosplay an ugly bitch. And so, like, if you make a character in a game, like, do you remember, this was the saddest thing, like, it actually was the saddest thing, is that, do you remember when Avowed put out a style guide for how to cosplay their characters?
Oh, gosh. Let me say this since he mentioned cosplay. Cosplay is the one thing I've never had a problem with, by the way. I think kids should be allowed to have fun. That is probably the one exception to me saying that you shouldn't race swap characters and stay original and consistent. That's the only exception that I would say, no, that's fine. I've never complained. I mean, we've had white people cosplaying as Japanese samurai forever, and I wouldn't go to like a black kid and tell him or tell her, oh, you can't cosplay as this European looking character on a video game. That I wouldn't have a problem. So cosplay, let the kids have fun. Believe it or not, someone in chat the other night said, no, Metatron, because you once accused and attacked online an Instagram cosplayer because she's black. I'm like, what? Never. What on earth? Like, people are literally making shit up these days. Cosplay's fun. Let them have fun. We have all done it. White people have done it. Asian people have done it. Hispanics have done it. Black people do it. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't have a problem with that. It's just kids having fun. There is no message there. So sometimes I do see people going like, oh, stop race swapping. We're like, maybe that one don't. If it's history, 100%. If it's a canonical character in a video game or a series, it's not as dangerous, of course, as changing history, but it's something I still personally don't like. So if you take Blade and turn him into a white guy with blonde hair, I'm like, that's not Blade. Likewise, if you turn a character that has been canonically white and you turn him black, I'll still say that's not X character. So that's a personal preference of mine. So I would say don't swap them, don't change it, just make another character, for crying out loud. Also because oftentimes it doesn't even overlap. The life experiences, a look age is a good well-written black character because he belongs to a specific reality within New York, and it makes sense that he's black. He has a story because of it, and that's a well-written character. If you take a character that basically you could tell is a character who has had a life of a white guy, and then you just change his skin, that's lazy, it's shoddy, it has a message, it annoys me, and I fight against it in that situation. But cosplay, I'm going to state it publicly since people have made baseless accusations. Have fun, kids.
That was sad. I actually forgot. Yeah, well, the thing is that only I would remember something like this, right? I would be the only person to remember this. Yeah, on God, what? Yeah, exactly, right? You have to be at least 300 pounds. Yes, so nobody wanted to do that because the characters aren't attractive and appealing. That's the reason why. Like, there's a lot of characters that I know from, like, anime, and I don't know anything about the anime, but I know who the character is.
True.
Like, and that's the reason. It's because women don't want to dress up as an ugly woman. Why would they want to do that? Isn't that the like, what do you have makeup for?
Say all of
True.
this because
He's
femininity is not outdated. It's not shallow.
Yeah,
and
2B. I've never played Nier Automata. Never played it.
I did.
But I know who 2B is.
Sure.
It's not something that you need to water down for the story to be taken seriously. It's range. So please let women be cute and manipulative, kind
Yeah.
Oh,
and a little
gosh.
chaotic, soft but have sharp teeth,
Yes.
pretty, powerful, emotionally devastating, and the reason
Baron in chat is bringing an interesting perspective, although I think you're mischaracterizing my point, so I'm going to re-establish it in order for me not to have to defend a strawman. Not that you're doing it intentional, I think you're misunderstanding. You say Metatron expecting everyone to be pretty and sexy is unrealistic. That was not my point, so let me reiterate my point. My point is that being sexy and attractive has become offensive, and it's been replaced. That's what we're fighting against. No one is going to complain if among the sexy and attractive characters, you also put some characters that are subpar or maybe even objectively non-attractive or not conventionally attractive. I don't care. The reason why we are complaining about it is because it's a systematic replacement. And in fact, it's becoming offensive to even, but that's a sex doll and all that kind of stuff. That's what we are attacking. So I never said every character, which is why I wanted to reestablish my point. But thank you for sharing.
the protagonist starts journaling in a cave somewhere. Because femininity is Zelda, steadfast and radiant, and standing between her kingdom and ruin with nothing but
Femininity is not literally just being better than a man. You know what that's actually called? That's called unresolved personal trauma with probably your dad, uncle, boyfriend, hopefully not husband. You know, that's unresolved personal trauma. That's it.
hope and stubborn grace, or Triss, who
He does have a point. I would add it's also political echo chambers that also will create. It's a message. It's propaganda. I think it's deeper than that. But sure, that's one of the. I would agree that it's one of. He's not wrong. It's definitely one of the possibilities when it comes to certain writers, aka Dragon Age Veilguard.
who's clever and compassionate and
An
plays
absolute thought who literally got with Geralt after he lost his memories, knowing that her friend that she had known for decades was his girlfriend. Does not matter. She's still doing it. Literal fucking hoe. Like the biggest generational hoe. Crazy. Like, I didn't even play the game and I learned about this. That's, oh my God.
Oh, that's funny.
What a bitch. This is why it's,
Craig is saying that must be why people hate me, because I'm sexy and attractive. Now I know. Yeah, I know. Don't hate me because I'm beautiful. But anyways, he has a point. Up to this point, I haven't disagreed with anything. I said maybe I would have used this word instead of that one in a couple of occasions, but I haven't disagreed with anything so far.
I can't ever choose her. Well, Yennefer's hotter. That's why I chose her. I mean, if she was hotter, then, I mean, yeah, she would have been right. But no, that's not, it doesn't really matter. It's just a secondary thing. But yeah. Yeah, she just snakes in there.
Politics with you with a super soft smile that just makes you kind of forget that she's winning. Or Bayonetta, who's playful and provocative and treats every battlefield like a runway and then never manages to smudge her lipstick. Or Lightning, who's a beautiful, guarded, and grieving character who carries the entire weight of the world in 6-inch heels. And when female characters are done right, they're not flat or abrasive or weak. They're actually narrative gold.
There's a lot of really good examples of this in gacha games too. I would say like Zila and Bronya in Honkai Star Rail are pretty well written. And I would also say that I think Genzi in Wuthering Waves is well written as well. Carlotta, I mean, like, those are just, Genzi, like, I mean, these are well written, good characters. Acheron, Acheron is also very well written too. That's a good point. And so Cardathea, Cardathea is very, very good too. That's the new one. I forgot about that. And so it's like, where's really like.
Dan the Jedi says, look, I'm a sucker for a redhead. Triss is awesome. Yeah, I don't know. I know now he's mentioning a lot of characters. Some of these I don't know, which is why I'm not commenting, but he's sharing his opinion. It's kind of funny, though, how we have had that's another thing that people will gaslight you into. Have you noticed the systematic replacement of redheads out of games? Did you guys notice it? I've seen it so much, it's insane. They've been targeting exactly redheads. I don't know why. I don't understand. Like, if their problem is with white women, then I would imagine that the quintessential enemy would be blonde girls, but for some reasons, it's redheads. It's true, right? Like, and people will tell you it's not happening, and then I'm like, wait, but the character was a redhead in like Diablo 2. I'm talking about one of the side characters, and you can switch. You can click a button with the remake and switch between old graphics and new graphics. The old graphics, she's redhead. In the new graphics, she's got a black hair. I'm like, what's going on? Then, Ariel, she was swapped. And there are so many redheads in video games that they just systematically remove. Why do they hate redheads so much? I think red hair is gorgeous. So strange. So many characters. You'll see it all over the place. It's a ginger apocalypse. They've been removing them. What the heck? Particularly in remakes. For some reason. It is happening, though. But here we are. Thank you, Goatee. Appreciate that. Almost done with the video.
And again, all of these games are Gooner games. If people like these, the people would be complaining, calling these Gooner games, but they still have better written female characters. Phoebe, nobody cares about Phoebe. Literally, nobody gives a shit.
Phoebe.
Have tension and softness that stabs, or beauty as a weapon. Let's let women be gorgeous and terrifying, sweet and strategic, gentle and unhinged. Let them be feminine.
She's the cat
again.
girl, right? I'm gonna be real. She cooked. Like, I've never heard this girl talk before or say anything. I completely agree with everything that she said, and this is just a clip from the video, but I'll link you guys her video that she made about this and talked about it. I mean, oh wow, look at this. She only has 300 subscribers. Holy shit! Here, let me link you guys her video.
This is the moment where this girl's life was changed by the reactor. In case anyone else is going to say, and again, if you mention XQC, that guy doesn't even talk. He just goes to the bathroom and lets the video play. But I'm saying someone like him, he's 111,000 subscribers, guys. That's what she got.
She'll be canceled tomorrow? Yeah, surely. And there you go. Yeah, give it a like. Give her a sub. Yeah, I had no idea. Are you watching Google Keynote later on today? Google Keynote. Yeah, I'll give it a like. Yeah, that's amazing. And so, she deserves more. I think so, too. I think that she broke it down in a way that was really healthy, and it was intelligent, and it was accurate and fair and just really well done and respectful. Yeah,
man, that's such a toxic human being speaking now. Doesn't he sound toxic? W in chat for Asmongold for helping this creator. I didn't know who she was. Here she is. I subscribed. 112,000 subs, so go check it. I'm gonna do it too. Let's turn it into a train of positivity for once. Here is a link to her channel, guys. Probably not gonna do as much, but obviously Asmongold is giant and it's a smaller channel. But here we are. Maybe some of you didn't know. You subbed. Fantastic. Great. Good job. Video number 1. I pretty much never disagreed. Let's find another one. Let's see what he has to say about Dragon Age the Veilguard, because maybe he'll get more political about it. That's in some very moderate individual. There might be some things when I'm like, I don't know if he's stepping up. Let's see. It's a 2 minutes and 30 seconds clip, so we're going to go through this one quickly, guys. Let's see. I would be more than happy to do a collab, Chris, absolutely, with Asmongold, 100%.
And a lot of people that have given extremely positive and favorable reviews to a game
Bunch of liars!
that has received a tremendous amount of criticism.
Dragon Age the Veilguard is a triumphant return to form. Without a doubt, a return to form for BioWare. Return to form!
Return to form. Form meaning Dragon Age... Form meaning Dragon Age Origins. If you don't know what Dragon Age Origins is, you will not be able to understand the depth of the absurdity of this statement. Return to form.
Return to form! Return to form!
Dragon Age the Veilguard review.
Let's go.
So, there's a reason YouTube got rid of dislikes. What is the dislikes be? 40K? Holy shit!
To give you perspective, the tool that allows you to still see the number of dislikes is not 100% accurate, but it does give you so don't take it literal, but it does give an overall fair analysis from when it comes to the data of the ball range of, it's an estimate. Still, I can see that. I can see that. I forgot to add my dislike, I'll add it later.
I clicked on the video merely for the comment section. If you ever feel useless, remember that this channel exists. This isn't a review, it's sponsored content. That's fucked up.
Oh, that's wild.
I'd lied better.
Emmerich, you clearly find talking about dragons boring.
What? How? Who doesn't like dragons?
You're not ready? I'm not ready either. Let's watch it.
Pounding that snake's nose. She's still holding the ruby in her other hand. Maker's panties. I was so proud. Ah, shit. They're still holding it. Sorry.
What are you doing?
Pulling a barb.
Oh, okay.
Bad blood among your crew's not good for morale, but there's not always time for big drawn-out apologies. So when one of us screws up and we know we've screwed up, we do a quick 10 to put it right.
I will say that looking at her, she's still hot. Now, like the narrative and like her doing push-ups because she she used the wrong pronouns. Yeah, it's really stupid. They did nerf her boobs. I think they did.
Yeah, I agree with him, but I would like to say the writers did a disservice to the people that, of course, use the pronouns and whatnot by doing this, because this is obnoxious. So the reality is, in my opinion, is that even the writers, they did it because they needed to own the freaking chuds. They didn't do it because they wanted to actually support the LGBT community and all that. Because if you do, you're going to sit down and really think, because this was a catastrophic failure. But let's be honest, people that professionally work into the R&D department or in general marketing, you're telling me that they couldn't foresee that this was going to create a massive backlash because it's cringe? It's just that they don't care. That's the reality. Now, when it comes to, like, for instance, so I agree with him. He's right. This is stupid and it's cringeworthy. But I want to say this. When it comes to me, and that's my moderate take when it comes to these things, as long as someone is polite, as long as someone asks me politely, hey, I have this other name, I will use their preferred name. Because I use the name Metatron, and you guys are very nice. Telling me Metatron, calling me Metatron, appreciate it's not my birth name, fine. And when it comes to preferred pronouns, don't you even try with the crazy ones like bunny, bunny self, demon, demon self, never gonna happen. I'm never gonna say it even at GUN point. But when it comes to she or he, the regular pronouns, as long as someone asks me politely, I will do it out of politeness. With that being said, if someone like Dylan Mulvaney, who made a statement publicly where he said that it is the belief of this creator that people should go to jail if they don't use the preferred pronoun, then I will not use it on purpose, just to show a resistance against people who want to take away my freedom. Now, if you disagree with that and you want to say, no, I don't want to use any preferred pronoun, that's your freedom. If you instead go a more left, even more to the left, and you want to say, no, I use all pronouns, everything, bunny, vampire, self, whatever this case, it is your freedom, as long as the freedom of the individual is not being taken away by a government that shouldn't have any business into what people say unless they do what they are saying leads to a crime. That's the only case in which, within at least the United States Constitution where I live, speech is not protected. Then the government has no business in my freedom of expression. So once again, you're a nice person, you're lovely, you're nice, you're doing nothing wrong, you're not one of those crazy activists, and you tell me, look, I actually have gender dysphoria, like clinically proven, and you want me to use your preferred pronoun, I'll do it because you're being nice and you're asking me nicely. I look at the person. But if you're one of those who's going to be like, if you don't say it, you'll be cancelled, I'll say it to make a stand. I'll use the opposite pronoun in that case.
Reason you can't just apologise?
Sometimes people say, oops, sorry, and hope that fixes it, but they just want to get the whole thing over with. But pulling a bath, you sweat a little. Makes you think about it a little more. Shows the other person you mean it.
What if they mean it when they say they're sorry, though?
And that's the other reason. Some people mess up and get all dramatic. They make it about them. Oh, you know, I did.
That is a projection if I've ever seen one. Writer of this. You just made the entire franchise about yourself. Can we be honest about this? That is exactly what happened. That is exactly what happened.
I didn't mean it right. I'd never do that on purpose. They feel so bad about it that it's on everyone else to smooth it over and make them feel better.
Oh, okay. Yes, some people might do that.
Pulling a bar.
Are you sure that them was the right pronoun and making them feel bad? How do you know? Did you ask? Did she ask or no? Thank you so much, Raphael, for supporting the stream. What you said just now, a pronoun is the reason Jordan Peterson got famous. That's it. I understand. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. I suppose. But yeah, this is the cringe fest, noble ones. This is a cringe fest.
Puts it on the person who screwed up. They made the mess. They fix it. Done.
I cannot wait for tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be such a good day for me. I'm going to wake up early. What's this dialogue? It's not dialogue. It's a sermon.
Based. It is he's absolutely right, 100%. I was expecting, by the way he was described, based. It's exactly what it is. It's a sermon. Indoctrinating sermon, in fact. It is. It's a sermon. Even if you agree with it, you could say it's a sermon. You could agree with it. I know my audience is mixed. Some people in the comments will be like, no, I'm left-leaning. Fine. You agree with it, but it's still a sermon. He's correct. He's right. So I think at this point, someone will watch another video now, but at this point, someone watches this and says, oh, Asmongold is a horrible, toxic individual. I think they're just saying it because they don't like that the guy has a different opinion on this specific matter, by the way. And some of his takes are clearly left-leaning, not in the culture war. In the culture war, I guess a lot of his takes would be considered right-leaning. Although for me, what I've seen up to this point, it was freaking common sense. It's not even... I understand that everything has become political. I can't even say that I like freedom of speech without people calling me a fascist, which is the craziest disconnection from reality that I've ever seen. Because yeah, if being pro-freedom of speech makes you a fascist, then you have to explain to me how is it possible that during the fascist regime in Italy you could not go to Rome and say Mussolini is a monster because they would have shot you on the spot. Next. Angelica, was Oblivion censored?
But they actually have been censoring the new Oblivion.
The Oblivion remaster has been the talk of the town, and it's no wonder. Its sudden announcement...
Yeah, Tay says sometimes he does have unhinged takes. Oh, I agree. I agree with you. That's why I'm saying I don't agree with everything, but I'm going to have to start kind of watch. It's not the only time I'm going to react to the man. But today, up to this point, I agreed with almost everything. But I'm sure 100% that I can find a clip and tell you, no, guys, he's completely wrong. 100%. I even said it at the beginning of this. But my problem is that people think that these takes are also unhinged. They're not. So far, this was sensical.
And subsequent release,
Yeah, it
is
kind
an
of
event
popped
that
off.
breathed new life into the existing fan base, and it also opened the door, or an Oblivion gate, for a lot of new players that haven't experienced the game before. Though most of the responses and discourse around the
Angelica thought she's so fun, by the way. She's a proper gamer girl. Someone was saying, is it surprising that he has haters since he decided to, jump into the political... No, I'm not surprised that he has haters. I'm just saying that the haters in this situation, I can still say, of course he's going to have haters. I mean, let's be honest. Jesus had haters. So anyone is going to have haters. So at this point, I prefer someone who just says what he believes. Because if you just try to just never have haters, I don't want to say anything offensive, they'll still hate you anyways. Even at the very beginning of my channel, when I wasn't even talking about anything, even remotely controversial, I was just showing you my helmet, I was showing you my miniatures, I was showing you the Muppet. Well, actually, I didn't have a Muppet just yet. Today we do. But even at the very beginning, people were still hating in the comments. Just they were hating because of my appearance. They were telling me, oh, you're horrible, long hair. Other people would tell me, you have a stupid accent. So people will still hate you. At this point, just speak your mind. And then he became a freaking millionaire doing it. Take the money. At this point, take that. As long as it's true and you're not deceiving, you'll have haters anyways. Haters are always... It's just part of the game, guys, unfortunately. Thank you, Hey. I support the message, but the dialogue could be executed better. Yes, and made to not sound like it's talking down to play. Absolutely, Hey. 100%. And as I say, you're welcome here. You're welcome here. Whether we can agree, disagree, I don't care. You're being decent, you're very welcome here. Let's continue. Just went and subscribed to Background NPC. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And also, hail long hair while we're at it.
The game has been overwhelmingly positive, and
Yep.
I think deservedly so. There have been a few things that have sparked controversy right off the bat and resulted in some heated debates around the internet. But even with all of that, it hasn't actually hurt the game in any way. People that had some issues just modded them out and moved on. Though I myself am very positive about this release, and I've really been enjoying playing
Yeah, I've
the
enjoyed
game.
it too.
There are a few things that I've noticed that don't really make sense to me, or I guess I just don't really understand why they would go out of their way to change them. It seems that in the remaster, female characters and depictions of women in general have been noticeably toned down, or...
I did not notice this. So I watched, I put about 15 or 18 hours into Oblivion Remaster. I play on Twitch, by the way. One thing that I would like to do at one point, because tonight we're going to play some games, so I will give you the link. In fact, I'm going to give you the link right now to my Twitch channel for the gaming content, because I've only done a few of my Oblivion and KCD2 and Heroes of Might and Magic and Civilization playthroughs. I kind of begin them on YouTube, but then I continue them on Twitch. So that's one thing that happens, and I would like to give you the link right now, because not only tonight we're going to play some games, but 1 second, I kind of want to mention, because I'm trying to grow an audience on Twitch as well. Thank you for the ads right there, appreciate that. Thank you very much, system. Let's get a little more ads, why not? And so I'm just gonna put the link here. Appreciate anyone who wants to follow me on Twitch. Also, because in the following coming days, I will do a react to Joe Rogan, because he spoke about Zaki Hawass again, and then I'll do that on Twitch exclusively. And then I'll do a react to the other section of what's his name? Jordan Peterson's discussion against the 20 atheists, because on YouTube these get copy claimed, but on Twitch they don't. So the videos will be cut, the VODs, and produced as singular videos for YouTube. But if you want to watch it live and interact with me as we discuss these topics, then do click the link, because yeah, I will do these on Twitch very soon. And thank you, Mango, for becoming a member with Prime on Twitch. People who haven't used Prime, I'm really honored that you're using that and choosing me as a streamer. Very much appreciated. But yeah, so the game, where are we? Sorry, I'm clicking around. I didn't notice that they changed the statues. I put 18 hours into the game. Let's have a look.
or even censored. While they may seem
Like
like small
what?
things if you come across them, and I
Censored.
don't actually think they ruined the game, if you look at the bigger picture and how many things were affected by these particular changes, you'll start to notice a bit of a pattern that is perhaps setting a precedent and a new standard for future Elder Scrolls games and really games in general. Unfortunately, I think that a lot of these changes were made while ignoring the deeper context of the world, and it's not entirely clear
Let's see
what
an
the
example of
purpose
this.
of making these changes was. There definitely was some sort of a purpose, because it cannot be.
What was the change here?
Yeah, is it because did they make it flatter? Is that it? What's wrong with boobs? I don't get it. Is that what we're trying to do? Thank you so much, Rod, for subscribing on Twitch. We are actually having a hype right now. Lots of people subscribing. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate. You're great. You're awesome, guys. But what is that it? So what's the problem with boobs? I don't get it.
Like, what was the change?
Or the clothing?
Did they make that? Is it a boob reduction? Okay.
Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I
What?
could expect that. Watch the video. Okay, she wasn't explaining it at the beginning, so I assumed... I wasn't sure if she just assumed that the audience knew what the difference was.
Keep going, you'll see.
A
Okay.
coincidence that all of these things were changed, but again, it's just not clear because there is a bit of inconsistency there as well. Today we're going to talk about the changes and some of the censorship affecting female characters in the game, and the kind of message that perhaps unintentionally or maybe intentionally it sends. Before we get started, hi, my name is Angelica, and I'm planning to do a sort of a special live stream soon to celebrate 100k. This is going to be kind of like
That's what I did.
Q&A style live stream. We haven't done one of those since before I had even less than 20k subscribers, so I thought that it would be a really good time to repeat.
Thank you very much, Ebrum, for subscribing on Twitch. Really appreciate it. And thank you, Rod. You guys are awesome. Also, we got a super chat that I wanted to acknowledge. Thank you, Kyle. I love your channel, but yes, that's it. They changed the female body and changed some of the armor and spied the Daedra, if I remember right. Okay, so it's not too bad, like Veilguard, but still, why would be my question. And we'll see. Daniel Edwards, what's wrong with boobs, Meta 2025? Yeah, exactly. What's wrong with it? We are men. We like what we like. Am I right? But anyways, thank you, the Hercules, for subscribing with Prime. Appreciate that. I'm not going to apologize for liking the curves on a woman.
Repeat that. But before we can do the stream, a very special package has to arrive, so stay tuned for that.
Cool.
Now, in my last video, I
Good for
noticed
her.
maybe one or two subtle things when analyzing the clothing in the game that kind of surprised me in terms of the changes that were made and why would they have changed that. Some pieces used to be a bit more off-shoulder, for example. Others accentuated the curves and the figure of your character a lot more.
What a surprise. Toning down the sexuality of the game in order to make mentally ill, probably fat women happy. Great.
You know what's strange about this? You know what's strange about this? Is that we have gone full circle. So initially, let me get this straight. Man, this is going to be so clipped. So initially we went from feminism going into women's right to vote. I agree with that. You know, talking about women voice and all that. Okay. And then they went so around when it comes to modern activism that now they find female beauty offensive to a point that they are changing the clothes and inadvertently getting more on the Puritan side. It feels like now they went so far left that they turned the way around and they are trying to censor the same way an ultra-conservative, like old school, is like, don't show any cleavage. Like, what's going on? We're going all the way around. We're going all the way around for different reasons, I guess. But still. What on earth? How did that happen? How did that happen from like the, you know, in the 50s, in the 60s? Like, not 50s, in fact, but the 60s, the 70s, women saying, no, we can dress down how we want, to hire a shirt, look, freedom. Then to, oh no, you need to cover up. Cover up. Man, how does that happen? How does that happen? Thank you, Petra Novus, for subscribing with Prime. Very much appreciated. We got 10 subscribers today, very quickly. Thank you so much. And then that's me. And then I want to say thank you to Baron. Then where are my overly sexualized men at? You're absolutely right. Yeah, I mean, at this point, this is so strange. I mean, are men not allowed to show the muscles? Do we have to cover up the pecs? Hey, I've been doing push-ups because I want to put on a little bit of pecs. Do I need to hide it if it happens? I don't know. Stepping up with the protein and whatnot, but maybe the Metatron will be censored. She's wearing the Amulet of Kings, Talos Love. Yeah, absolutely. But remember, in my playthrough, it's not the Amulet of Kings. It's the Omelette of Kings. That's what, because I misread it once and now it's a meme for my entire thing. It's the Omelette of Kings. And thank you very much, Piotr, for, my gosh, 10 Metatron gift memberships. Man, I don't know what to say. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate that. Thank you for becoming a member. It's very, very generous of you. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. I don't like him, but because of nonsense he said when someone... I understand, but he apologized. So the apology sounded sincere, and I understand that could be too much for you, and that's understandable. I mean, if he said something like that about Sicilians or Italians, I wouldn't have liked it, I'll be honest. But if he apologizes afterwards and the apology seems real, I'm willing to accept it. But that's just me. You do you.
Great. That's just what we need.
They weren't afraid to show a little bit more skin in something low cut. That said, I don't think that the original version of Oblivion was ever particularly out there or sexy. Sure, their clothes may have appeared more flattering, but I thought that it was all very reasonable and it didn't ever raise any eyebrows. Other than that, everybody was equally a potato. Some potatoes were just very feminine. It fit the world perfectly. The remastered version has hidden much of what I said in the previous video, gave flair and an attitude to certain things. Others have been just straight up changed in what kind of feels like an attempt at censorship.
It's absolutely censorship. It's not even a question.
Yeah.
This is what's happened with like 10 or 20 different video games. Like, I mean, how many times does it have to happen before people think that it's happening? It's obviously happening.
He's right.
I couldn't really care less, though. I think that you should care. Because the reason why you should care is because it indicates that people care more about making sure that this video game is congruent with their current world values than making an experience that the audience wants. And you should ask yourself this question. Is this what the audience wants to see?
No.
And the answer to that is probably no, right? Like, I think that we would all come to the conclusion that the answer to that...
Majority, absolutely. A game should be made for gamers.
That is no. And so when the answer to the question, does the audience want to see this, yes or no, is no, then why does it exist? Really? Why are they putting something in the game that players don't want?
Yeah.
And
that's
also,
in fact, I agree with him. That's what happened with Lords of the Fallen. I actually respect the creator because they made a poll and they asked people, do you want body type 1, body type 2, or do you want male and female? And they promised that they would have implemented that based on the majority vote. And now, you can tell me all you want that the vote was skewed because they did it on Twitter, and you may think that because they did it on Twitter, then this may have been that there was like a right-wing bias into it, even though there are people who are left-wing. But I understand that maybe if they had done that on Blue Sky Social, the reviews would have been different. But let's be honest about it. Even though by doing the poll on Twitter, they got like an 85, 90% towards male and female, even if they didn't use Twitter and they went into a more neutral, I suppose, platform, and I'm not accepting necessarily the counter argument, but I'm fleshing it out for the sake of argument and taking it at face value. It's still a fact that, yeah, you may have changed the percentages a little bit, but still the majority of players prefer male and female. So the fact that they did follow that is something that I respect. And of course, if it was the other way around and 80% of people said, no, body type, I love it, body type it is then. It's for the gamers, it's for the players, and I appreciate when developers do that.
So keep in mind that a person...
Hi, come in. My wife is here. Look at that. Wow, my wife is a ninja.
Oh my goodness.
We've been watching Asmongold.
Oh, hi, Asmongold.
He's good. He's good. So up to
Yeah?
this point, yes, there's some things I imagine I will disagree if we go into, but up to this point, I watched 3 videos, and I've agreed with almost everything up to this point.
Good.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Let's go full screen for a moment.
I bestow you with...
I got a cheese, guys. I got a cheese. I got a
If you need it,
cheese.
you don't have to eat it.
Oh, no. I do like the idea of having some cheese. And yeah, the stream is going very well.
Oh my gosh, you guys are incredible. You guys are doing the work.
Yeah, really appreciate that.
Yes, hi everybody. How are you doing?
So, number ones, do you mind if I go to the restroom very quickly, leave you with the lovely wife? She's more charming than me, so I'm sure you'll appreciate. And then I'll be right back. Be careful not to touch the microphone because it gets disconnected.
Yeah, right, okay.
So that's the only thing. But I'll be right back. And thank you, Muguki-kun, for becoming a subscriber on Twitch.
Yay!
Very much appreciated. Thank you. Be right back.
Hello everybody. How you doing? Okay. Okay, can you guys still hear me okay? Is the mic okay right now? All right. Hello, everybody. Hi. Hello, chat. Hello, Twitch. Hello, YouTube. Hi. Oh my goodness. Guys, there's so many of you today. The chat is like, thank you so much for coming and supporting Raf. That's so nice. Thank you guys so much. Miss Metatron, Greg, Dan the Jedi, Saint Sir Nicholas, of course, Dylan Baker, and then on Twitch we have Mugi-kun, and then we have Saint Sir Nicholas over on Twitch as well. Legetu, we have a bunch of people. Hi everybody. So what's the hot gossip? What's the tea, everybody? So I got this sweater. I got this for 4th of July. It says USA and it has like stars on it. And then I'll show you the back here in a minute because the back is really cool. But so yeah, we're reacting to Asmongold today. Raf watches Asmongold a decent amount. I don't know if he watches them a lot. I have never watched Asmongold, but I do know of him because like he's quite, popular. So like I do know of him, but I haven't really seen a video from him before, but I'm sure he's great. It do look comfy. It is comfy. Tree and Trooper. It's very comfy. I would love to get some Chinese armor. I mean, well, he would. That'd be really cool. So
The man is back.
how'd it go?
Oh,
good. Sorry.
Everything went well. Thank you.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear.
I'm having my cheese.
Oh, Evil Black, thank you so much for the donation. Do you want me to answer this or Raf to answer this?
We can both read it.
Is it right or wrong to want to play attractive characters in games? No, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's totally fine. I think you should play the character however you want to play them. So, but thank you so much for that donations. That's very kind. Ginger Baker, no, let her stay. Asmongold is often called the Roach King of Twitch. Is that like a thing? Is that
because
like
of the condition of his house?
Oh, that's right. I heard that like even though he's like super wealthy, he like doesn't
Spend a dollar.
buy anything. Hey, some people are just like that. Some people just don't, want to spend money, and that's, it's their thing.
Sorry, I just wanted to say thank you again to Piotr Suwala for 10 Metatron memberships. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you so much. That's amazing. And yes, my hair is red. I actually went to the hair salon today. So yeah, it is red. I don't know if you can see it, but it is. It is red because Bag to Batty, thank you, Yeet. Let's see. His place is like a hoarder. Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, what kind of cheese? Says Legetu. It's like
White cheddar.
Yeah, it's a white cheddar Baby Bell
Yeah,
cheese.
it was a white supremacist cheddar.
Did you used to be blonde? No, I'm naturally a brunette. I was blonde like a very long. Like when I was 23, I was blonde, but it's been a very long time.
Yeah, she has a like naturally very light brown. It's light brown.
Yeah, it's like a
natural,
chestnut brown, like a
and
lighter
then
brown.
It was
Yeah.
easier to turn it into red. It looks gorgeous.
Thank you, thank you. Am I also Italian? No, I'm American. I'm from America. I mean, look, USA on the shirt. Redheads unite, yeah. America, yeah. USA.
Yeah.
One of us. How did you two meet? We met on YouTube, believe it or not.
Yeah.
We met on YouTube, and I commented under one of his videos. He messaged me, and the rest is history. That rhymed. I'm Eminem.
So open a YouTube channel and you get gorgeous women.
Oh my goodness, stop it. That's very true. Dave Ross, thank you so much. Hello, Miss Metatron. What state do you guys live in? If it's not too personal, you always have big sweaters. I wear sweaters 90% of the year because I keep it relatively cold in the house.
Yeah,
I keep
she
it at
freezes
like...
me. I'm a Mediterranean man and I get frozen.
And we're in Tennessee. We live in Tennessee. But yeah, I can't stand being hot. That's like something that I really can't stand. So like I have it at like in the summer, I have it at like 68, which I think a lot of people would either think is, some people would even think that's still too hot, but like I keep it like at 68. Mr. Miles, thank you so much for the donation. Seeing Meta pace behind you is little ominous. Guys, I got to season 2 of Solo Leveling. I don't know if y'all like anime. I should go. Because I know that y'all are still doing your thing and talking about Zach.
As long as you want.
What about Asmongold? I know. We're gonna get back to Asmongold. I pinky promise. I'll go. I'm gonna go. Anyways, Solo Leveling, yeah, I got to season 2. The story is like meh, but I love the vibes. I love the powers, and it's really cool. Okay, bye everybody. Bye chat. Bye Twitch. Bye YouTube. Have a great rest of the stream, and have fun talking about Zach.
Yeah, and if you liked listening to her, I'll put a link to her YouTube channel so you can. Which one do you want? Which one do you want me to mention in chat?
Oh, hey, Ray Gonzalez, thank you so much.
Thank you for gifting a member to membership, man. I appreciate. He's like the ultra supporter, by the way. He's gifted so many memberships. It's incredible.
Daniel Edwards.
Daniel Edwards. Let me just put myself top right so we can actually share these people on screen, all the good people. Daniel, thank you. Those are true Southern House temps. Good job, I guess.
Yeah.
And as I was saying, just want to give credit. See Meta behind you. So yeah, I know. And then as I was saying, thank you, Ray Gonzalez, as always. Massive supporter of the channel. And... very cool to have you here, guys. Very cool.
There's so many of you.
Yeah, so let me link her channel very quickly.
Oh my gosh.
All right, let me do that.
You don't have to do that.
No, it's fine. So,
always the book one at this point.
Yes, so yeah, Kenzie's bookmark.
I love how you put an apostrophe.
Oh, sorry. So no apostrophe.
And it's just one word.
Which one?
Just,
the whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Found it.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna give you guys there we go.
I'm a booktuber.
She's a booktuber.
But I mostly just do shorts. Like I do short form content right now.
Yes. So I'm gonna put it both on Twitch. For people wanna.
Oh, thank you so much.
Wanna do that, and then over here. Thank you very much. Subscribing immediately. Yeah, Scarlett.
Scarlett. Thank you, Scarlett. Thank you so much. If you do subscribe, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Do Lord of the Rings. I love Lord of the Rings, and I have a series where I'm building the Lego Rivendell on there too, so that's really fun. Okay, I'm gonna go have fun talking about Asmongold, and And I will see you guys later. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Remember, that's how we say goodbye.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Do you need anything else? Are you good?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
Oh, NVIDIA. The stock is...
Okay, so we're back. Where were we? What a strange sound. What a strange combination of sound. Where were we?
Oh, where were we?
It sounds so weird. Where were we? So guys, where were we? And yeah, let's go. Thank you, Melone. Appreciate that. Your wife is lovely. I appreciate that. Thank you, Torch. Yeah, she is. Where were we? So you know, you've got Weni Widi Wiki. Maybe it's related. Weni Widi Wiki. Where were we? Maybe that's where it comes from, guys. I don't know. I mean, the Romans did reach Britain, so unless you prove it wrong, I'm gonna go with that. So where were we? And let's see. Yeah, where were we? We were oh my gosh, where were we? We were here. I can't speak tonight. Where were we? We were here. We were here. Then it becomes we. Why isn't it where? If it's where, it should be where. Where were we? We were here. All right, guys, I'm gonna stop with this because it's gonna blow my mind. Where were we? We were here. The Italian man struggling with the barbarian language. Why couldn't you know Latin? And then we could be speaking. But here we are. All right, where were we?
Person who will do that doesn't respect you. They don't respect what you want. They don't respect the type of game that you might
don't give him money.
Might want to play. They only want to push their idea onto you. And that's it.
True.
And that will not stop at, you know, like cleavage or whatever. This will happen to everything. Because this is why all of these woke games are garbage. The reason why all of these woke games are garbage is because the people making them don't care about the audience.
I mean, he's right. I know that some of you will be triggered by the fact that he used the word woke. I understand that. But let's, for a moment, remove the word woke for a second and let's not focus on that. What he's spreading is real. Up to this point, he's real. He's real. It's true.
And so you should care for that reason.
The Wokatron.
I really missed the huntsman's vest and pants.
Well, I guess today, because I'm agreeing with him, I'm the Metachud. I guess I'll be, 100% right. He's 100% right. Based.
The clothing video, because to be honest, I actually didn't recognize them at all when I came across them. I guess I didn't think twice about it at the time because this is the version that the male characters wear and I recognized it from that, so it just slipped past me. Like some sort of a Mandela effect, I guess. Now here's the thing, this is what they changed it to and it was always called a vest, so I guess this makes it closer to its name. But I don't think that that's why
No, that's a coincidence.
They changed it. If they were really worried about sticking true to the name of items, then perhaps the black finery would be black and not brown, right?
Yeah.
This is something
Man,
else.
she did an investigation, Angelica. Angelica did that investigation here.
And it's something that I will explore in this video and show you more examples of. But specifically looking at the huntsman's vest, to me, this was a totally unnecessary change that I think nobody would ever complain about if they left it like before.
I mean, like, here's the truth, right? What do you think the odds are that this was done in order to promote some form of lower amount of female sexualization in the game? What do you think the odds are that this is the case?
Can you guys explain to me what female sexualization is? Is it the idea, because I'm not familiar, again, I'm not that deep in the... I occasionally talk, I guess, or should I say, occasionally the topics that I cover overlap with the culture war. It's not because I seek the culture war, it's because the culture war has been enlarging so much that now anything you talk about, whether it be medicine, biology, history, geography, politics, science, it goes everywhere. I can't even talk about a freaking phone without going into politics these days. But regardless, linguistics, language, everywhere. Anyways. What I wanted to say is that what is the sexualization of female or women in this case? Is it the idea of, you only see a woman as a sex object? Is that what they're trying to say? Because honestly, the idea of being physically attracted, if you're a heterosexual man and you're physically attracted by a good-looking woman, good. Means everything is working right. That's how the species survived. So there cannot possibly, it doesn't matter how much social constructs we add to that, that's a good thing. It's a bad thing when you've got people that are violent about it, or when you get people that are weird about it, but those are because they've got some problem in their head. A healthy brain, a healthy human, will find a degree of attraction for the opposite sex when it comes to heterosexual people, and that's a good thing, because that's how the species reproduces. So I don't, even from a biological sense, from a religious sense, well, God says, go and multiply and replenish the earth, hence it is intended that way. But even if you remove religion, because you're like, Metatron, I'm not religious, I'm an atheist, fine. I'm religious, but it's fine if you're not. I appreciate you being here. I always respect people, regardless. But even from a biological standpoint, it just makes sense that it's a good thing for the species that we are attracted to each other, and that's how it is. So if you're once again, I specify, if you're a heterosexual person, male, and you're attracted by a gorgeous woman, are you sexualizing her? So maybe it's the idea that some men only see women as a sexual object. Okay, but that doesn't represent it. What are you going to do then? If you remove the beautiful curves from a woman, you're penalizing the small minority of men that are actually bad people, but also at the same time punishing all of the other men. The only sin that they had is being naturally attracted by a beautiful form. That's wrong. Yeah, it's a very small, but of course there are men and women that are human beings that are sick in the head because they are like violent and they are weird, they're sociopaths. But the psychopaths, the percentages are so low. Who cares? Maybe they don't even play the games. But don't penalize the entire species for something. It only has to do with that would be considered in any situation unjust, unless I'm misunderstanding, of course. And that's just a nuanced take. Thank you very much. I like Spike for supporting the stream. Appreciate the generosity. You know how some animals have to be complete degenerate to keep their bloodline going. We see a lot of that going on right now. I'm not sure what that means, but yeah, the animal kingdom, unless I'm misunderstanding you, the animal kingdom is not always a great representation of what we would consider to be good and just. And sometimes animals are wonderful and definitely better than us when it comes to, like, for instance, my dogs. They are angels, but other times it was things that happen in the animal kingdom. I would say, yeah, let's not imitate that. Let's build a society that is based on something higher. So it kind of depends, I'd say. Yeah, cool.
100%, right? It's 100%. And fundamentally, I don't want people going into my video games and changing them because of their worldview.
Sure.
I don't like their worldview. I disagree with it. Mm-hmm. And I think that more people need to speak out and say, stop changing things. We don't want this. Don't do it. That's it. People are entitled. Yes. The devs whine about it. Yeah.
You're saying that the changes
kind of very, very logical take
that appear to be so radical in the remaster were done in the name of embracing a more realistic look. But I feel like that all goes out the window when you think of an NPC that wears this clothing. So Branwen came to mind, and this particular change has made her face and her situation look really silly and out of place. For context, this is a Veilguard woman that can be
Does
found
every fucking game, even a remaster game that had a complete graphic overhaul, need to be a fucking Gooner game, for fuck's sakes?
What? What's a Gooner? What does that mean?
So, let me ask you something. Why do I have to download a mod to make it?
Yeah, okay, so this is someone who's instead, I don't know if he's just doing it to spite or to create contention, but they're basically saying just download effing mods if it's a problem. Let's see how he responds, but I'm gonna say I probably will agree with him just by the looks of it. Oh, Aguna is a sex addict, I see. So this person is an imbecile, but let's go.
Get the same whenever they were the ones that tried to make it different. Yeah. You're getting mad about this to be a fucking Gooner game. I don't understand why this is a problem. Can you not understand the problem that I have with this? So they actively change something and make it different than the way it was.
Yeah.
And now I'm the problem for recognizing that and saying that I don't like the change.
It's got to be a
troll.
troll.
How is that? I understand a problem. Then then why are you trying to invalidate it? I don't understand. So, like, if you understand the problem that I have with it, then why are you trying to say that I'm not allowed to have this problem? I don't understand this. Let me explain. Okay. It's not a one-to-one recreation, no? That should be expected?
Yeah, but not
No,
for
it shouldn't.
politics, exactly. Not for politics. Of course, it's not a one. Who cares if there was a wooden door, but now it's a bronze door? Might even be an upgrade, depending. Or maybe don't change too much because we like the nostalgia rush. But if they do it, it's the reasons behind it.
Why should you expect that they universally censor things in one direction? I would be completely okay with it being a, what do you call it? Being like a remaster and certain things are changed. But don't you think it's odd that every single one of these changes, primarily, is all in one direction? Don't you think that's...
Yeah, he's right. Well, could you imagine, again, as I say oftentimes, but could you imagine if they took Oblivion, the same people that say it doesn't matter, they would go nuts if they did something in the likes of Oblivion now is a MAGA simulator. They would go nuts. I also wouldn't like it. I just don't want any politics in the games that have to do with the modern. Just give me the games that are an escape from reality. Let me have the good fun, because hobbies were supposed to unite. I played Warhammer tabletop when I was freaking 14 with people of all ethnicities, cultural backgrounds, with people I will play with someone who was like a freaking Alleanza Nazionale, so kind of a right-wing guy. Then I played with Rifondazione Comunista, which was a guy who was an actual communist. I played with a socialist. I played with why a centrist, Democrazia Cristiana. Why? Because at that moment it didn't matter, because the hobby was a uniting factor. But what these people are doing is that they're taking something that was supposed to unite, because Warhammer unites, and then they add the divisive politics, because politics are built to divide, and then because a divided group is easier to manage and control from the perspective of the elites, and then once you do that, then the hobby is going to become divisive too as a result of it, which is then denaturalized. So that's what happens. But could you imagine, if they took Oblivion and made it into a MAGA simulator, I would have a problem with that, because I'm like, don't put politics in games. But it is true, as he's saying, that usually is unidirectional. It's unidirectional. That's where we're going. I want to see what this guy is going to say now. What is he going to say?
A little bit odd that that's happening. It's because they're doing it on purpose. It's intentional. The game is good. The remaster is immaculate. The overall quality of the game is amazing. Like, it doesn't have to be sexualized.
Says the Puritan. Says the medieval man who, I imagine when this guy is having a private moment with his girl, I'm just supposing here for a moment, he probably says, keep the clothes on, though. Keep the clothes on, because come on, shut up.
So you're not... What? That's not even what's being discussed. Nobody's even taught... That's not a reason. That has nothing to do with it. Waste of time.
Let's he blocked him. Oh my god.
That's not even the point.
He blocked
Just look at the
him.
monsters, every model that's been changed. It's not about cleavage, but design quality. I don't know. I think a lot of them look pretty good.
Yeah, Alone says some clothes could be a real turn on, though. Yeah, it's a good thing. I don't see anything wrong with it. What's the big deal? As long as we're all adults here, what's the big deal? Oh, you were talking about if you wear the clothes. Yeah, I see what you're saying. No, I thought the way I was imagining it is like you see sometimes in those movies where they like to have to hide everything because, oh no, you can't look. It's gonna, yeah, that's what I meant, but whatever. Yeah, he pulled people. Yeah, that was kind of funny to watch. Yeah, I never heard the word Guna before. I saw people saying, how do you not know Guna? I don't know, man. Maybe I know the equivalent in my language. I never came, I don't know. I spent a lot of time reading about ancient Rome. What you want from me? Guna was not a word in Latin.
Arena district, sparring with an Argonian named Salith, in the hopes of making it in the arena. In the original, their outfits, or lack of clothes, perfectly fit their situation. This place is like a mini gym, and her attire is perfectly comfortable for what she's doing. It's sort of like a sports bra.
Oh, did they cover
it? Without any context, you go up to this, and it just looks like two homeless people fighting.
Well, wait, what about equality? Why isn't he being covered at this point? I see Metatron. You know? What is going on here?
First of all, this censorship doesn't extend to male characters, as they didn't decide to put a shirt on him, but
See, this is again,
fine, the scales are fine.
Like,
He has his tail
It
out.
just, you can say like, oh, well, it's a remaster and things are different. But when things just keep being different in one direction over and over and over,
it's gaslighting at that point.
A pattern begins to emerge.
So, guys, this is Argonian man has been sexualized. Stop sexualizing this man. Can we cover these damn scales? Put some clothes. Have some dignity, man.
This warm furry vest to work out.
Yeah, it's a
Before
pattern.
this, in
It's
the
obvious.
original, the shirtless Argonian was completely fine, and I don't think you ever needed to ask them what they were doing to get the picture. Now, her look has had a direct impact on his, and they just look like beggars from the waterfront district having a disagreement. It looks ridiculous, and it was something that did not need to be changed at all, and it's actually kind of ruined the particular scene here. No, it's not game-breaking, but it's the
Yeah, of course it's not. And by the way, I'm not offended. I don't think Asmongold is offended. I don't think Angelica is offended. Let me give her a little bit of a better. Let me give her a better.
Sort of.
There you go. How about that? How about that, Angelica? Here we go. So no one is offended here. I'm not offended. We're just cringing. It's a cringe fest. That's all this is. But thank you very much, Lord Dave the Kind. You are very kind. Thank you. £50 support. I really appreciate that. I would say that the main difference between all the new games is that they moved from a niche to a popular media. Yeah, popular American media has always been preaching moral values on American culture. The issue is that this culture is just broken now. I mean, it's a very good analysis. Absolutely, we could open a lot of tributaries from that. But thank you for sharing your mind, and I appreciate the support, man. And 1 second, because I got stuck. I got okay. Now I'm not stuck. And yes, so I think I read everything there. I'm just checking how things are going over on Twitch. Everything fine? Yeah, good stream.
jank that's like not really charming. It's definitely funny looking.
The problem is that these kinds of things are like a cancer, and if you don't stop it early on, it becomes worse. Like, for example, whenever Blizzard took the calling Sylvanas a bitch out of WoW, we didn't realize that would actually end up causing us to get an expansion that was so soy it was Dragonflight. We didn't know that at the time, but if you give these people an inch, they take a mile.
So, of course, I agree with the general sentiment. I don't know the specific situation was you talking about World of Warcraft? That's not a game I played, so I don't understand the reference. Also, I don't know soy in this question. I don't know what it means. So I'm having a little struggle here, I guess, from the deeper American culture. But regardless of that, I agree that if you give them an inch, they'll take a whatever the heck. So, yeah, wow. That's what it was. Okay, cool. Nice, interesting.
That's it. Yeah, and the paintings, exactly.
Yeah, people keep saying, yes, soy. What the heck is a soy? Soy, low testosterone. Oh, I see. So like a non-masculine man, is that what it means? I understand. A beta. Okay, thank you. I got it. I appreciate it now, because it was a little bit of a... I understand where it comes from then etymologically, because the idea is that, yeah, they were saying that if you drink too much soy milk, then it messes up with your testosterone. I got it now. Thank you. Appreciate it. It's very, very kind of you. Thank you, man. Today I'm learning a lot of words here. Who would have thought that watching Asmongold would become a American slang learning experience? But here we are.
Do you find on one hand they try and censor the game, but the same retards that try to sexualize kids in society in real life, it's double dumb? I don't want to say it's the same people,
but not in a good way.
So he means no lactose, Scarlet. I mean, sure.
Armor is also a bit of a hot topic right now, kind of for the same reasons.
Yeah.
So in the original Oblivion, some of the armor.
Now this is my realm. This is my realm right here. This is my Okay, I'm back. So this is my realm. What have we got? Yeah. I did look at the sets of armor. I've got to say, I think the armor looks pretty nice in the remaster. I keep wanting to say remake. I mean, I liked the steel set. And but what are they saying? What is she gonna say? That the iron armor now does not? Oh, because she had boob plates and now they removed it and put a breastplate. Well, believe it or not, I actually don't mind that too much, because that's how medieval armor for women would have worked. But because they're doing it for we can't show breasts even if they're iron, then that still annoys me. But yeah, functionally speaking, it would be okay.
looked quite different depending on whether you played a male or female character. Granted, not
Yeah.
all of the armor had these differences. For example, the steel armor kind of looked the same on both
Looking
men
good.
and women, so
Sure.
it's important to have this context.
And that's that, you know what that looks like? It's a late 15th century Milanese set, but I would say, due to the fact that the placard, the leather strap is clearly Italian in style, and so are the asymmetrical pauldrons, and thank every god and deity ever imagined and worshipped, they actually did it right, and the left is bigger than the right, as it should be, as the left is your line of defense. What I want to say is that this section of the placard actually looks more Germanic, looks more Gothic. So this, I would say, is inspired from a set of armor created in Milan, but for a German export.
Those facts before we go and get our pitchforks. Don't worry, there will be time for pitchforks later. Some really notable differences can be seen in things like the iron armor, the amber armor set, the chainmail armor, the
Yeah, why did they go for the... I actually like the grey... Well, this one still looks good, though. But the color kind of makes it look like a lamppost.
things like the iron armor, the amber.
What do you guys think? I think I like more... The texture-wise, this one looks better, the assets. But color palette-wise, I like the contrast of black and amber more than silver and amber. At least that's me. At least that's me. You think modern is always better. In this case, for instance, I prefer this more. At least the color palette looks better to me.
Armor set. The chainmail armor. The
chainmail armor. Chainmail. Yeah, the mail armor. Whatever. I mean, I think they both look nice. I kind of like that they added... Again, I don't like that she looks like a lamppost. But apart from that...
pit
It's always the same.
armors and
That
stuff
one's not,
worn in
that
the
one's
arena,
not that much
and
different.
several
but yeah.
others that you'll notice.
They look different. Orcish. Maybe I like the darker set more. It's like you're choosing between the night and, you know... Yeah, I kind of like the orcish this way better.
Too. What they appear to have done is taken away the elements that incorporated the female form.
I see.
And made all armor look more bulky and pretty much like it does on male.
Well, this one looks nice, but I agree. It's obnoxious that they did this. It's obnoxious. There's no reason to do it.
Male characters.
Yeah, this is a really common trait and a common trend with like video games now, is that they try to create the way that like men and women look, and they use basically the exact same stuff. And they create these like really androgynous...
I did say chainmail, didn't I? You got me.
Totally unappealing, weird-looking characters that I don't think anybody actually wants to look at or have anything to do with.
He's absolutely right. And also you say it's a fantasy game. Oh, I know. I don't have a problem with the fantasy elements. I love the fantasy elements, but I can still have an aesthetic perception that I could say, man, it looked better before. That's really all I'm doing. And I loved the mismatch. Like the steel armor looks great. It's not a carbon copy of what medieval armor. I mean, the fold looked wrong, but who cares? It looks good. It's fantasy. As long as it's aesthetically pleasing. Yeah, I'm mostly just discussing the quality of the assets and the color palette at this point. Clearly, it's a fantasy setting, yes. Thank you, Daniel. Armor was fashionable in history. Why not games? Yeah, that too. Absolutely. Form and function, they say.
Yeah, nobody wants this. I don't think anybody's asking for this at all.
The major argument for doing this, and I can sort of see where they're coming
What's the
from,
reason?
is, again, going for realism. So it is true that armor, for the most part...
Okay, I can respect that she actually seems to have pulled stuff up from museums and didn't just Google medieval helmet and then risked showing something that was historically inaccurate. I can appreciate, I mean, yeah, cool.
Art was never really made for women.
Okay, I agree. Let's go for realism. You can't play as a girl. No girls.
Yeah, in fantasy it doesn't matter.
Thank God.
Or to fit the female body. That is because in many places in the world and many societies, it was widely accepted that war is for men, and only men go to war and need to wear armor.
That's true. I was about to say there are exceptions, but it seems like she is going into the exceptions. So due to the fact that she's willing to, of course, recognize the exceptions, this is clearly Joan of Arc, There are other exceptions. I'm not expecting neither him nor Angelica to know about the population called the Ayazagis or the Sarmatians, or the populations of the steppes or the Akkadian kingdom, and the situations in which the sources do mention that there were in fact women that would put on armor and fight, but those are still very small percentages. So the only way in which I would have a problem with people saying, I don't have a problem with people saying that in the majority of cases it's men that went to war. War is a male-dominated aspect of society, and therefore combat and armor in the majority of cases is connected with male and men. But there are exceptions. So the only problem I have is when someone says it never happened. Then I'll take every single historical example from the sources and I will annihilate their position. But unless it's someone like that, and I've heard people, I've already done a couple of debunkings, but unless it's like that, what they are saying, both of them, they are correct. Generally speaking, it is chain male, it's not chain female. So there's that.
A few exceptions, of course, instances where armor may
Joan
have
of
been
Arc.
made to fit.
Yes.
I have to kind of correct that. T. Price, you say about 25% of Celtic armies were female. That's been debunked. I discussed on it. Celtic is not one of the societies that we can use for a higher percentage of women warriors. That's incorrect. We actually looked into it when we made the video. But there are absolutely societies that did have women wearing bronze armor, for instance. And there is even a mentioning of a combat situation where the Romans were impressed by the fact that they defeated this core from one of the enemies that they were fighting, and then when they removed the helmets, they're like, women? Because it didn't happen usually. So the Romans are like, can't believe it. So we have that's kind of twofold, because on one way we see there is an historical precedent, it happened, but on the other side we also see that the reaction of men of classical antiquity, at least in the Mediterranean cultures, was that of surprise, which also indicates that it must have not happened very often. Of course, do remember that I'm generalizing, so there are situations in which there might be some Celtic women that knew how to fight, but it's 25% has been debunked. I'm aware of that statement and it has been debunked. So there is that. But thank you for sharing that.
Particular
Look at Joan of
person.
Arc.
Like, it's believed that Joan of Arc had her armor made specifically for her, courtesy of King Charles VII of France. But for the most part, if a woman did wear armor, it was just armor that was standard and made for men to begin with. You guys will know that I am somebody that advocates for realism in fantasy worlds. But what I mean by this is that I want to see it grounded within the predefined parameters of any given fantasy world. So my counter argument here is this. Unlike the real world, in Oblivion, women do go to war.
Yes.
In Elder Scrolls in general, women go to war. You see this in your first 2 minutes of playing Oblivion, where you meet Captain Renault wearing a full set of Blades armor and escorting the Emperor to safety. That's kind of a big deal. I sort of touched on this in a video before where I spoke about how there don't appear to be the same predefined gender roles in Tamriel as there are in our real world. Therefore,
some areas of commonalities you can still see. I mean, women are wearing dresses and men are not, but still, I agree, it's slightly different. It's a different world. It's a fantasy world, so it's fine.
Or realism in this case would mean that the female
Greg likes her eyes. Yeah, nice, like ice blue, right?
form is also taken into account when making armor, as women are out there just as much as men. And again, this was a thing in the original. It was already decided that this is a thing, so...
Well, I think that the reason why they don't do it is because they don't want to make armor that sexualizes women.
That's true,
and they view a acknowledgement of the female form in any way as sexualizing women.
Yep.
And that's why you see a lot of these like Western games that are made that are just totally fucking, again, it has these ugly androgynous characters. Like, look at Marathon, look at Concord.
Oh,
it's
Concord.
the exact same mindset.
Ooh, Concord has been mentioned. What a catastrophe that game was. What a cataclysm. What a cataclysm, guys.
I don't see why they couldn't continue with it. I find it a particularly silly change for things like the amber armor. Like, the concept of amber armor is very fantastical, surreal, surely with how magical and out of this world this looks, we can allow for it to fit nicely on a female character. So realism is great and all, but it shouldn't get to the point where you're taken out of the fantasy world, especially not in a remaster or remake scenario where you already have a point of reference. Upon further inspection, they did this with statues as well. So if the statue had some curves or a more risque appearance, this would be toned down. For example,
I mean, it's true. It's like proven beyond the shadow of a doubt. This is as she was saying, is it a game-breaking change? No, but the simple fact that the change happens is annoying. And if anyone were to say at this point, but why do you care? Why does it matter? Well, it mattered enough for you to change it. It mattered enough for you to change it. Therefore, you lost the privilege to use that as a line of argumentation. Just as a matter of deductive logic.
I don't know, guys. It's a huge nerf. That's a massive nerf. It's a gigantic nerf. Baldur's Gate 3 is considered woke, even if it didn't take away the boobs from the armor. Baldur's Gate 3 is not considered woke by anybody. Nobody except for the biggest retards on the internet think Baldur's Gate 3 is woke. The problem that people have is that this is one-dimensional desexualization that doesn't happen to male characters. It doesn't happen to men. It's only with women, and it's only in one way. That's the problem that people have. The 1 and 2 thing, yeah, sure, and that's...
I think that's the only thing I would disagree with Asmongold a little bit in this case, because... so we found one. So still, I'm pretty happy with how this is going, to be honest. So when he said that, so he thinks that Baldur's Gate 3 is not woke. He's using the word. So I'm going to repeat it for argument's sake. And what I'm saying is, that's fine to think that. Personally, I think Baldur's Gate 3 is a really good game, gameplay and everything else, but there was a little bit of politics in it, particularly in the game creator. And also in some of the ways some of the stories are written. Like, for instance, there is this section where you've got these people, they're not from there, they should be integrated, so clearly kind of seems to be some kind of message. And then you have this woman who's clearly religious, and she's being horrible because she's religious, she's traditionalist. It kind of looks like a jab at Christianity, but it's veiled. Now, you could tell me, maybe it's just in your head, and I agree, maybe it is. Maybe it's from a Christian bias, but let me give you this much. I don't think it's game breaking, and I do have Baldur's Gate. I play it, so I don't have a problem. During character creation, I saw that there was a little bit of political language, identity politics, but since it didn't reappear throughout the game, then I didn't care, and I play it. So I don't have a problem with it. And when it comes to Dragon Age Veilguard, we are in a situation where, to me, too much is too much, and so I'm not interested in it. But the only thing that would disagree with him now is that he said that to him, Baldur's Gate 3 is not political. So if people think it is, then they are. And then he used the R word. I don't, because I'm a polite individual. Fine for him to use it. That I disagree, because then at this point he's kind of doing the same that people do in reverse. So whenever he has a take, I wouldn't do that. But that's fine. If people, I mean, he said that, whatever. That's the only thing I would disagree with him. I would say, no, I think people can have a ground to say that to them, Baldur's Gate 3, particularly the character creator or some of the elements in the game, is too far on the modern political scene. It's not for me. I don't have a problem with BG3 because, again, I guess if we really want to say it, if there is such a thing as a woke meter, right? Mine needs to go all the way up before I say this is too much, throw away rubbish. I will, but it's not that sensitive. Maybe his is different than mine. Definitely someone like Shad, good friend of the channel, his woke meter is a lot more sensitive than mine. And this will vary with you here in chat. People will say, no, BG3, I didn't have any problems. Maybe some of you will say the Dragon Age Veilguard is not a problem. And I respect your freedom. Some of you will agree with me, some of you will agree with him, and some of you will have it will have such a woke meter that is so sensitive that the split second there is even the minute, you'll say cancel the game. Hey, at that point, it's your money. Do whatever you want. That's the only thing I'm saying as a counter argument with him, but everything else so far I agreed, so not a big deal.
Silly, but that's like one point.
The Meridia statue in Oblivion looked like this.
Yep.
And in the remaster, they made it look kind of like it does in Skyrim, but it's definitely safer for work overall.
Yeah,
After seeing this, it kind of occurred to me that perhaps
so was the other statue, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, sure. Thank you, the mighty Zeus. We've got even the father of the gods here who has subscribed on Twitch. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's not an artistic choice. This is a...
I decided to make all of the Daedric shrines look more Skyrim-like. But then I visited Azura, and she was way more toned down and covered up than even the Skyrim version. Whereas in the original Oblivion, she looked like this. And if more Skyrim-like was the goal here, why didn't they change the Molag Bal statue to look like it does in ES?
I want to thank one of you guys. Thank you so much for the support, Vlad Stain, good friend of the channel. Thank you so much for being here. When my wife plays games, she always spends an hour on the character creation and wants her female character to look beautiful and sexy. Sims 4, it took her 3 hours. Same for my wife, so I'm starting to think. I wonder if it's a common aspect. I mean, I do take my time as well when I create the character, but yeah, I absolutely know. I think that's definitely a thing. Yeah. Women like being beautiful. Who would have thought? We have to make the most common... I wouldn't mind, actually, getting a bit broader shoulders, a little bit of gunsy, a little bit of biceps. Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that. Don't we all do it when we create characters? Maybe not all of us, okay? Not all of us. But some of us, definitely. When I create my character, I'm making... a bit taller than I am. I'm 5'9", so usually I make him like 6 feet, and which I wouldn't have minded. I can't really do anything with the hair. I make sure that his hair of my characters, if I can, reaches the waist, because mine reaches the navel. So I guess a little more, just a personal preference. And then I give muscles, not huge, but I do give him a bit more muscles. Don't we all? And maybe it's different for you, and that's fine. But I'm just saying, I guess it's quite common that women do that, make themselves beautiful in the games.
So,
well, it's obvious the reason why. I mean, they're censoring and changing the game in order to make it more in line with their worldviews in real life. That's the reason why. It's obvious. I mean, if you look at this kind of stuff and you don't come to that conclusion, you're being dishonest. Yeah, it's very weird.
Yeah.
I mean,
I kind of want to share because we've got some interesting things here. So Cozy Pug says, my boyfriend makes an old buff guy. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that will change from person to person, but there you go. And Kay Alifi says, yes, it is. I do that. And I want to show both of you here. So that's Cozy and Kay. Yes, it is. I do that, and I like being beautiful. Funny thing that when my husband plays a female character, he does the same. Well, obviously, yeah, absolutely, totally. And thank you very much, Kayvel, for becoming a member of the channel. Thank you so much for the support. Very much appreciated. Sorry for the ads. I tried to keep the ads low because there is we can't really have we don't, as creators anymore, they changed things, so we don't have as much control over the ads anymore. They're placed automatically. If you remove one of the automatic, you disable the function completely, so it's become a little annoying. So I apologize for the ads, but when it comes to the live stream proper, I try whenever I can to, because there is a thing that I can choose the intensity, and I try to keep them on the lower end because I don't want to interfere with your experience. So thank you very much again for the support, because memberships and super chats kind of counteract that, so it's very much appreciated. Thank you. Anyways, so I'm gonna say it's now time for 30 minutes dedicated to, we're gonna continue watching this, but I'm gonna dedicate the chat to the channel members for the next 30 minutes. So we're gonna play the usual game and then we'll open the chat back up. Let me see. Let's see who's gonna manage to get the last regular comment message before we switch. So thank you very much, guys, and of course anyone wants to lurk and stay, I appreciate that. And after this, then we're gonna probably transition to playing some games, but I'm gonna change it. Thank you so much, everyone. So anyone wants to leave now, I understand that, but you can still stay. It would be nice to have you here. But for the members now, it is your time to shine and share your opinion. So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Muppet. Who's the winner? Who's the winner? Welcome to the inner circle.
You Muppets.
And welcome, welcome everyone. So the winner is Loni Anseki Shoku with the letter D. Congratulations, and Bloodstain is the first one to speak. Welcome to the inner circle, dear members, and anyone who has received a membership. So for those of you who watch who are still not members, usually during these sections, several memberships are gifted for free, and it's distributed among the people watching randomly. So if you stay, there is also a chance to get a membership. I appreciate that. So thank you. And the chat stays on screen. For those of you who are on Twitch, I'll still read Twitch source. Twitch chat. It's just that I'll kind of give priority to the members, but I will also read the chat on Twitch. And the reason why I do that is because then we always play the games on Twitch. So this is kind of a moment to say thank you to the members for supporting the stream. But then we will play games, and then Twitch chat will have priority during the games, of course. Thank you so much again, guys, for being here. Let's continue a little more, and let's see what we've got. So I'm going to play this, and then we need...
This depiction of him is arguably better known even, but they decided to stick to the original. Now here's where the consistency falls through, and this is what kind of makes me question the purpose of changing these things at all. Now maybe they missed this, but interestingly, they also didn't change the mermaid statue in Anvil. In fact, I think they maybe even improved her a little bit with the pose, but yeah, they did. That's just my opinion. Other than that, where I thought they might censor her...
And this is another element of, like, the weirdness of, like, this, like, weird sexual censorship.
Yeah, she's good,
that
Dylan.
They have no problem... I don't know if you guys have noticed this with a lot of games, is that a lot of these video games have no problem making very sexualized characters that don't have humanoid traits. Like, for example, like they have, like, that Flame Atronach, who, like, still has a big ass, or they have, like, this mermaid, or they have things like this. But there's always some form of thing that makes them inhuman to make it some form of, like, safe horny. Have you guys noticed this before? Like, I've seen this, like, probably 10 or 15 times now.
Minoan outfits.
Okay. Very weird.
Man,
very,
you're absolutely right. Could you imagine if they see Minoan outfits? Man, the writers of this, they're gonna explode. They're gonna explode.
Weird.
They didn't. Now at this point in the video, I know somebody has probably thought of the spider Daedra. So yes, I did decide to take a closer look at that as well. So my take on this is, they don't look bad. They retain pretty much the same essence, although I would have liked to see...
Again.
I didn't see this in game. Are you into spider Daedras?
You're right, I am. Look at it through that lens from now on.
That bright red incorporated into their outfits, but it's fine. However, if we address the elephant in the room, their chest is visibly smaller. Let's stop for a second and think who the spider Daedra are. They are closely associated with the Daedric prince Mephala. Mephala, who is the prince of lies, sex, murder, and secrets.
Oh my gosh.
A prince that uses seduction to get closer to mortals and
know where
trick
she's
them,
going.
Get them entangled in her cunning web.
So she gotta have some big ass titties for that. Yeah, exactly.
Daedra are the perfect ambassadors for such a prince.
Yep.
And so having a more exaggerated chest like they did in the original would have been arguably more lore accurate and in character.
Of course.
Man, Angelica has done research basically. Angelica has put the same amount of research that I put into my, oh goodness gracious, into my like deep analyses videos, the ones where I go like really deeply to the sources. That's what she's done. She's done the same thing. She's actually bringing in the sources. Oh, that's so funny. Hey, Cozy White Bear on Twitch. So good to have you here. Thank you for being here. Man, she slapped the sources.
No, this is by no means a horrible change that completely ruins the game. But I wonder about the message that it sends.
Welcome back,
when,
Captain.
Even in a scenario where the female body tells a part of the story and lore, they choose to tone it down like it's a bad thing. And it's not like Oblivion is a game where historically all women had super exaggerated bodies and jiggle physics and lots of focus on that sort of thing. So this also meant that having something more open and out there, or откровенное, like we say in Russian, made it that much more effective.
Yeah.
If people are worried about over-sexualization, let's be real, those who really want to make things more exaggerated and blown out of proportion will mod that right into the game. But that does not mean that we can't have tasteful depictions of the female form in the game by default. And when I say...
Alright guys, we need to... one thing I need to do now, after all of these statues that have been shown, and the statues and the bodies and the removal and this and that, we've seen so much, I've got to get a little eye candy. Okay, so I'm just gonna do this. Okay, we're gonna get a little eye candy. We're gonna get a little eye candy, guys, just as a little counterbalance, just making sure it's appropriate for the stream. But yeah, that's totally fine. Eye candy in 3, 2, 1, boom. Stellar Blade. We needed a little eye candy. And she is spot on. Yeah, absolutely. Let's go. Stellar Blade. You know what's so funny about Stellar Blade, and that's why I wanted to bring it to this, is because I've actually seen a person with a following commenting on Stellar Blade and saying, this is a doll body. It's not a realistic body. This is not the body of a real human being. Did you know that Stellar Blade is based 1-to-1 to a real model? She's an Asian woman. Did you know that? Yeah, major curves of her blood. She's got more curves than the Italian Alps, the roads in the Alps. Yeah, exactly, in real life. Totally, St. Nicholas, yeah. So she looks identical. If you Google it, she looks like that. The physical, the only difference is that I would imagine, if I look at this face, I wouldn't say it looks Asian, at least to me. So basically picture this exact body 1-to-1 and give it an Asian face, and that's what she looks like. She is a supermodel. Yeah, she's very beautiful. Very beautiful. And I saw the pictures, and let me see if I can find it, and it's possibly appropriate in the sense that it's not a situation. Stellar Blade, real life model. Let me see if I can find a picture. I don't know if I can find a picture, but I'll try. I saw a picture on Twitter today for some reasons. Can't find it. Man, my Google Foo is not great. You'll have to Google it yourself, guys. But it's a thing. Also, because I need to be careful that I don't show stuff that's going to get me banned. Because when it comes to Stellar Blade, yeah, she's very... Anyways. Can't find it. Whatever. You'll have to find it yourself, guys. Sorry about that. But it should be easy to find. It's just that I'm a muppet with Google Foo. Anyways. With that being said, I just wanted to show you Stellar Blade because I think she's a beautiful looking character that luckily certain studios didn't have the power to censor, because let me tell you this much, they would have 100%.
Well, this is the thing, is that there's no one who hates attractive women more than unattractive women. And I think this is what's happened a lot, is that, and you see this, I think the best example of it is the amount of animosity and hostility that, for example, like fat women have towards women who are not fat.
Right.
They will constantly body shame women who aren't fat. They'll, you know, like try to like say, oh, you're not skinny enough. There's something wrong with you. Where's your tits? Like, oh, you don't have any curves, etc. You've seen this many, many times, right? And so, and it's also like, obviously, like being overweight is only one aspect of it. I think that there are a lot of other aspects as well.
She's on YouTube, okay.
If you think that like I am mean about this kind of stuff, or like any guy is mean, you should see some of these girls' group chats that get leaked. Like
Right.
I look like a fucking saint. I look like I'm a nice guy compared to them. They are
Right.
fucking savage. They
Right.
recognize shit I didn't even know existed. Yeah, so basically we're facing the ire of women working on these games. I don't know if it's like necessarily women working on the games, because I don't think all the women are like that. What are your thoughts on the sexualization setting that allows you to dynamically turn it on based on gamers' preference? That way there's nothing to argue about. I don't know about that. I mean, I feel like that's just more work, right? I mean, I think you should.
No, I wouldn't have a problem with that. If there sometimes you can remove nudity from games, and you can allow it, remove it. I appreciate the option, I guess. I don't see that as a problem. So no, I wouldn't have a problem with that. If you want to put a little bar that you can move around, what do you call it? Then whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, it's more choice for the player. I don't have a problem with that. Let me see what you guys were saying. Yeah, but Baldur's Gate, I don't remember because I played it a while ago. But there is this character that gave me. She's not obviously a Christian, because in the lore there is no Christianity. But there was this character that looked. She was so obviously written to be, and again, everything else in the game is written really well. I like Baldur's Gate 3. I know you don't, St. Nicholas, but I do. With that being said, there was this thing that happens when you go into this encampment. It's pretty earlier on in the game. And you see this character who is clearly overly religious in the way she speaks. And she's painted as, this is the bad person. And you are supposed to not like this person. And she gave me, in the language that she was using, she sounded like some kind of more traditionalist Christian, but I can't prove it, so I don't want to go into it because I don't have it here. I'm just saying a feeling I got, but as you see, I didn't make a video about it, so it's just a personal feeling I had. I don't remember who it was, but I had that feeling. Yeah, the druid situation, exactly. It looked like it was, only that one gave me the impression that it was looked like to create a pattern recognition in a young person playing, to be like people that speak like this equal bad. So now remove the few words that are congruent to the fantasy story, but if you hear anyone else speak like this, bad. And that's the feeling that I got. But that was it. It's just a hinge. People be like, oh, you're seeing too much into it. Fine. I'm happy to accept that. But I had that feeling anyways. Let me see. Yeah, she's gorgeous. Yeah, talking about Stellar Blade and the, of course, model. Absolutely. Totally. Yeah. I understand, Nicholas. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, you're the one who told me. I see. Yeah, no problem. Then a mini misunderstanding. Shadowheart is fine. I like Shadowheart. No, it's a non-playable character that you interact with. No, Shadowheart is fine.
Do the thing that 90% of people want. Like that's generally what I think you should do. You should do, like, if there's 90% of people on one side of an issue, you just do that thing. It's pretty simple.
For
probably more like 95 or 99.
Tasteful, I mean, they fit perfectly into their world and story. All of this censorship and hiding of the female figure is a really weird way to remaster something.
Well, it's women that don't like women that are attractive. And it's men that think that they can... This is another thing, too,
exactly,
is that these women exist in an ecosystem of simp men that will be obedient to them and agree with them about everything because these men want to fuck them. That's the reason why. And it's a form of them signaling that, oh, I'm one of the good ones. That's the reason why.
I can't offer commentary on that because, again, he's going a little deeper into the specific American subculture within the culture war. Can't really comment on that, but I can say thank you to Vladstein. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? Yes. Oh, that was funny to read. Did you know the Germans invented the bra? Oh my gosh. What is that? I can't read it. Yeah. I think it should still stay realistic in proportions. Yeah, I mean, sure, I wouldn't want a character that looks, unless there is a reason, like they're a different race, a fantasy race, then do whatever you want with the proportions, I guess.
Sending the message that women should be more covered up and toned down in general. It's especially difficult to understand when you see that, again, for the male characters, this was not at all changed. Speaking of Daedra...
Yeah, so I'm actually starting to understand it. The people that do these things, mark my words, they don't do it to defend women. They do it to get one over to the men. Because how dare you be attracted by a woman who doesn't look like me because she's conventionally attractive? If I had to guess, I would say that's what it is. Probably. 100%, that's what I think it is. 10,000%. I'm just having like a moment of clarity. That's what it is. Don't worry about it. We love jokes in this game, in this area here. Comedy's not dead on me.
Look at this evil eye.
Yeah, of course. Of course. And this is what I was saying, right?
Yeah.
It's completely one-dimensional. Or one direction.
As buff, as detailed, and as shirtless as ever. Why is this okay, but this is not? I will say, they did put shorts on the zombies, which again, consistency, I don't know.
Also, the zombies looked better in the original. This is the original on the right. Zombies on the left, it's one of the assets that I actually prefer in the original. Because even though, yeah, of course, it's a more modern asset when it comes to texture, the zombie on the left looks like a generic zombie that you could find in any game about zombies. But the zombie on the right has a fantasy dark magic feel to it. And it also is very typical with this green skin hue, kind of grayish. And then the looks of it, sometimes they are without a head, if you remember. There is something very recognizable and original about the zombies assets in the original Oblivion. So once again, I love Oblivion Remaster. When it comes to the architecture assets, I think it's superior. When it comes to some of the assets of the monsters, it's a case by case, and this is one of those situations where I'm like, that's a downgrade. Yeah, also, why did they give him boxes? I don't know, but that's a downgrade. That's a downgrade right there. Yeah, you too, Black Wolf. You prefer the hue of his skin. Yeah, it looks putrid. It looks like something that is exactly coming from, who knows, 100 years in the sewers. It's like, this looks like, oh gosh, I can use my own imagination to even imagine what. This is just a generic asset. You can find it in any game. But we got to cover up the corpses. Yeah, have some dignity, man. You can show your organs, just don't show that. That's the way I feel about this asset in this case. Again, someone who really likes Oblivion Remaster. I know I keep saying remake because it really feels like a remake, but this is one of the things when I'm like, no.
It's really weird. Let's look at the Shivering Isles, the famous saints and seducers. The interesting thing about their societies is that they are matriarchies, and this is so deeply ingrained in their being that we even see it in how armor is modeled after females and not males. So the male variant of the seducer armor and the saints armor is actually much more revealing and feminine on the men. One weird thing that I noticed, again related to the chest area, is that it almost seemed more detailed and more modern in the OG version of Oblivion than it does in the remaster.
Huh.
Yeah, that's probably because the guys that made the original game spent a lot more time on this. I believe.
Good point. Yeah, look. That's so strange because texture-wise, I mean, they both look good. I'm not going to say that this looks bad. It looks good. And I have to say that both hues are fine. When it comes to the color palette, I think they're both good. In fact, maybe this one reminds me of Saint Seiya. So I actually like the hue more in the new one. The hue of gold that they have given it. But texture-wise, this is so strange. Why does this look like it has more? Maybe this looks so true. Yeah, they're both fine.
Whatever way it's done here is clearly to draw less attention to it, but it's just a bit strange when put side by side with the original. Like on the original, look at the contour and the definition on
shoulders,
the skin,
yeah.
And here, there's just nothing. These are all small examples on their own, I know,
they
but
add
when
up.
Put together, it does make me think about what the future holds in terms of depictions of female characters. I think that the Elder Scrolls always did a great job of depicting women in a way that was tasteful, even if there was an accent on sensuality and their bodies. It always felt right to the world and to women that played the games also, which is backed up by the fact that Elder Scrolls has a huge female fan base.
Yeah, it's a matter of priority, my man. All right, am I right? Am I right? Let's make the game what it used to be. And we're split as a community. Some will want boob armor, others will want realistic. Yeah, for me, I have no problems with boob armor if it's in fantasy these days, but if it's in reality and it's supposed to be like a real Norse warrior, then I'm like, maybe not. That's where I'm at when it comes to that. But at the end of the day, yeah, I'm fine with it, whatever. It's one of those things, I guess. Man, that's really funny, Ray. Goodness gracious.
There's two
Do you
things.
actually think this kind of censorship is banned because of more people from non-Western countries playing the games? No.
No.
It's the opposite.
No.
I think it's Western countries that are enforcing this on other countries.
Absolutely.
The reality is that with a lot of these games, there are, or not games, but like a lot of these like different, games.
Games.
In like Asian audiences, they like it one other way, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Look at, a lot of these games made in China or like Japan, or especially in Korea, right? No, this is a Western, primarily American problem that we have exported to the rest of the world.
He's absolutely right. I will say one thing about the East, since I'm familiar with the eastern side of the world as well, but as many of you are, of course. I would say that this is absolutely the case. In fact, Capcom of America influenced Capcom of Japan in the creation of Street Fighter 6, and this is we know that happened. So basically, if Capcom of America hadn't gone into Capcom of Japan requiring certain types of characters to be created in a certain way in order to have politics in the game, I don't think the Japanese would have done it. They did it because of the pressure. With that being said, on the Asian side of things, sometimes I will have to say that they make some characters to be a bit too young looking, particularly with a combination of certain clothing. So it's not like the some Asian markets in the production of games are like perfect. But with that being said, it is absolutely true that the Western gaming AAA section of the Western market has absolutely now started to, I'm going to use the word, infect the Japanese production. I honestly don't think the Chinese are going to put up with it, though. I'm not a fan of the Chinese government, but when it comes to developing, let's remove the government for a moment. When we look at the actual developers, I really cannot imagine a Chinese person going, 对对，我喜欢这个非常好. I can't imagine it. I just can't imagine it. With the Japanese, I think there might be a little bit of a cultural misunderstanding in the sense that because the Japanese have a little bit of a tendency, which we do too, but the Japanese have a little bit of a tendency that when they see something that they don't really understand in the West, they think that all Western people think that way. And I imagine we do that with them too. I mean, I don't, but I have a degree in Asian studies, so that's different. But the general average person might do that too. I can only imagine someone working at Capcom of Japan, a Japanese man, and he's receiving these emails and he's talking with the people in charge, and they're like, Western Capcom of America said that we need to put all of these different people and we need to represent, and we need to have the strong woman that looks like a man, and we need to have the guy who is literally wearing, the one with the microphone, who is wearing the colors of the transgender flag. Like, there are a lot of things that are there. Whether you like them or not, let's set the intellectual mutual respect and intellectual honesty on looking and seeing things for the way they are. And then, of course, the pronouns and whatnot. So all of this, and then you can't use male and female, reaches Japan, and they think, that's what Western people want. So the studio thinks, well, let's make Western people happy, not knowing that there is going to be a massive amount of backlash from the very West, because not everyone likes. Some people do. A lot of people don't, particularly in the gaming. So I can already imagine the Japanese going, すみません。わかりました。すみません。申し訳ないです。I know it. I know the Japanese. I know them so well. And I know that that's what happened. Now with the whole situation with Ubisoft and the Japanese game with Yasuke, I think Japan has finally understood what's going on in the West. But before this, I honestly think from the Japanese studio perspective was a little bit of a miscommunication. I'll just tell you what I think in this scenario. That's what happened. They really thought they were going to make Western people happy, and I think it kind of backfired a little bit. Japanese very polite, I agree, yeah. And that's a shame when people use that, the likes of Johnny Somali or all the other nuisance streamers that go to Japan because they know that they're polite, and then they mistreat them. And it's such a... you have no idea how much it makes my blood boil. Spent 4 years in Japan. I learned their language. I studied their history. I went there and the amount of respect that I showed to these people was the maximum that I could have shown. Likewise, I do the same here in the US. I respect Americans. This is their country, and here I am. But the idea that some people can do that is just so far-fetched from the way I approach life that I just don't get it. Yeah, Johnny Somali, good. They should make an example of him.
This is a Western American problem that we have created.
He's right.
That this kind of reminds me of. So one, have you ever seen those CD or album covers in the Middle East? So you have the version that was made in the West and then what was actually sold in the Middle East.
We're going the other way around.
The female artists are much more covered up because that's in their culture and that's just how it has to be. But the other example is when World of Warcraft changed the paintings of women to bowls of fruit, while all of the allegations about the ongoing...
And keep in mind... I have never seen a single instance of a game that goes from this to this that gets better.
What?
Every game that starts falling into this trap gets worse.
Literally, we're talking apple and oranges. But literally, these paintings are apple and oranges. Man, these people would censor the Italian Renaissance. You wait until they see one of the paintings from the great artists of the Italian Renaissance. They would censor everything. These are worse than the medieval Inquisition. What on earth? Yeah, put a lemon, will you? Put a lemon. They literally took the word melons and turned it into a literal... Oh my gosh. Where are we going with this?
Now, Oblivion is going to get carried by the fact that it had great content.
Yeah. Because they
but
didn't
it does
change
make
that.
me worried for Elder Scrolls 6.
Banana in the... Yeah, sure.
Or 5 or whatever the hell it is.
Oh, gosh.
Harassment at Blizzard were coming out. This doesn't help the situation at all.
6?
This isn't accountability. It's just the erasure of something beautiful that can absolutely be appreciated in a respectful way.
Absolutely.
But when you take it out, I guess you're just sending a message that maybe women are too much. Can't respect them if they look like this, or what exactly are they trying to say? All in all, I do want to state that I think that the remaster is fantastic.
I do
There
too.
are so
It's
many
really
elements
good.
to it that are super beautiful, and I've been admiring the world, admittedly even off stream. I just wish that small and unnecessary changes like this weren't made to, you know, make it more authentic to the original.
Well, here's what you have to keep in mind, is that the game was obviously approved by people that work at the company.
Yeah.
And I think that because this
suits.
was done under the direction of Bethesda, and this type of thing is also in Starfield as well,
right?
I would be very concerned about the new games that they make in the future, because it's likely that they will be infected with this same type of mental rot as well.
Ooh, we are going into... Guys, do you think that's going to happen to Elder Scrolls 6? What do you guys think? Man, that's... prepare the mods. Oh, you know what? Let me make... I don't know how many viewers I have now, but it's a good opportunity now to mention... to mention something, to give some... Let me give you some hope, guys. Let me give you some hope. Just give me 1 second, because there is hope. Of course, mods, I hope they don't. I honestly hope they don't. But I need to show you this very quickly for all of you, because I gave them a little shout out, and thank you for the support. I'll read your super chat in a second. If you think that that's going to be a problem, then let's all support DEG mods for a good alternative to Nexus mods. An alternative that does not play or give preferential treatment to mods based on personal politics. This is DEG mods. They're a good website that gives you an alternative to Nexus, which is clearly biased. And on this website, your mod will not be censored. This is a good one. I'm going to give you the link right now, and I'm going to move away from this just in case. I don't know if they're going to show something that I can't show on stream, but I'm going to give you the link right now. Let's support DEG mods, because they are providing an alternative to Nexus that is not gonna allow certain mods because they agree with their political takes, but remove other mods even though they were doing nothing wrong and there was no hatred involved, simply because they need to do that kind of situation. And in fact, even the developers responded to me. Here they are, and they say, thanks for the support. Yeah, most people are pissed, tired of censorship, including ourselves to the extent that we had enough and started making this new true mod site that's censorship resistant and permissionless. A permanent solution, you or anyone can hit me up with, what is it? With concerns, questions, feedback, or criticism, and we'll try our best to answer. And so that's Degmods, right, guys? That's Degmods. And I want to be in a little bit a factor, hopefully, with that to help with their success. And thank you, Duckledore, for the support. IMB4, they try censoring the Sistine Chapel ceiling. Are you joking? I don't know what IMB4, which game it is, but that's the Sistine. What? Not even the man, if not even Catholicism it has a problem with it, and someone has more problem than medieval Catholicism. I think, goodness gracious, thank you, Vladstein. Remember when Duke Nukem had oh my gosh, yeah, I do remember that actually. When Duke Nukem had some advertisement that today wouldn't fly. Let me give you that much. I've only been in a strip club in GTA 5. Yeah, sure. Oh gosh.
That's just the way it is.
Good video so far, both of them, by the way.
And so, yeah, Todd has the final say. Yeah, they have it. And I don't want to have video games that are designed by HR. I don't think anybody wants that.
Yep.
And I feel like it's important to be able to draw the distinction between,
get in before it happens.
like, I played the Oblivion remaster. You guys know a lot, right?
Yeah.
I put a lot of time into it. I think it's a great game.
Yeah.
But I do think that these things are actively immersion breaking for the people that recognize them and identify them, because they realize that now you're in a world that's being created and curated and censored in order to, like, protect a certain type of viewpoint that most people simply don't have. And I think that that's...
As I say, 3 videos, guys. 3 videos in, and I am agreeing with him. Maybe next time we'll find videos where I disagree, but up to this point, I'd say based. Thank you, Kvel. Will the Elder Scrolls 6 have the same shenanigans in it? Maybe. It really depends on how the market shifts. Yes, with what we've seen recently with reactions to this sort of stuff, in a way, the pendulum is starting to swing the other way. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. It's an abbreviation in before. I didn't know that. Thank you for that. Thank you for explaining that. The Oldertron. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty old school myself. Look at the mouse that I have right next to me, my friends. Look at the mouse that I've got. Look at this. Okay. Anyone recognizes this? The tank mouse for the Amiga 500 is right next to me because it's connected to a Amiga 500. Still working. Still play it. I played Lemmings 2, The Tribe. The Tribes just a couple of days ago. I enjoy doing that. Plus, he admits when he's wrong. Absolutely, yeah. It's always a good sign of character. I hate it when people are disingenuous and they're gonna defend every take, regardless of what. Like yeah, that's a manipulator right there when they do that. When they're like, "Oh, you've been proven wrong. It's wrong. It's not true. Can you just say?" Can you just tell it how it is? It happens. So I was reading, sorry, OG. I wasn't sharing the screen there. I want to say it was good. It was a good reaction. That stone mouse from under the pyramids. It is. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there is I saw this the other day, and it was here. I just said it because they asked this question. And the question was... Here are I don't know who this creator is, by the way, before anyone says, but I don't know who it is. Here are my friends Hassan and Asmongold. I'm curious, if you had to vote for either of them as president, who would you vote and why? Well, if I had a choice, I would say neither, but because this is part of the hypothesis here, I'm going to say Asmongold. At this point, I'm going to say Asmongold. And that's where we are. If you want someone to represent the left, you got to find someone else. Not this guy. Particularly considering who he has platformed recently. And I'm talking about someone whose name on internet begins with bad, but I'm never going to mention his name ever again. Yeah, Asmongold, 100%. Asmongold, when I've got history with the other guy, Asmongold, 100%. 100% at that point. 100%. Yeah. I think I read that. Very nice. You gotta find me someone better. And I think Baron, if you're still here, I know you sent me some links, some creators to listen to on the other side in order to have both ideas, which I do appreciate. Thank you for that. I'm glad that guy wasn't in the links though. So yeah. You never heard of Asmongold until now? Really, Palatinus? Man, he was live today and he had like 56,000 people watching. He's massive. And yeah, Asmongold is big. But I guess maybe you're not into gaming and you don't watch politics. Maybe that's what it is. I mean, good for you. At the end of the day. That's where we are, guys. Yeah. What is this? A Canadian bloodstain with a fusion. A Dragon Ball. He did a Dragon Ball fusion. Man, we got a Dragon Ball fusion. Mamma mia. Let me show you one thing. So I'm going to reopen chat now because we had the 30 minutes. Let's see who's going to be the first message in chat from a person who is not a member. Let's see who it is going to be. Who it is going to be? Who's going to be? In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's see what we've got. What have we got? Bloodstain was the first, but the winner is Mio Master Zombo. Very good to have you here. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Thank you, Sun Be Praised. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I also want to give a little bit of screen space to dear followers and subscribers on Twitch. Thank you very much, guys. And yeah, he usually has 50,000 people watching every day. It's massively successful. You know how many people I have watching on Twitch usually? Well, actually, I gotta say, you guys are going to push me to partnership if you're not careful, because I'm an affiliate, but I'm not a partner. So right now, this is my little thing here. Sorry. I didn't even sorry for not showing the screen. So right now I've got 84 people watching on Twitch, which is actually pretty good for me. Usually I have like 40, 35, 40. So if you guys are not careful and this becomes an average, the minimum average to become a partner on Twitch is 75. But for me, it has been really difficult to reach. So I do appreciate, no problem, say Nicholas, so good to have you here, by the way. Thank you for being here. You might push me to partnership if we continue this way, because the other night when the stream was blocked on YouTube and then people moved on Twitch and I continued the switch. I continued the Twitch. That's a stream on Twitch. It's a switch. If I continued, I continued the stream when it comes to Jordan Peterson on Twitch last night. I did that because YouTube was blocking it. But then there was a moment when I had like 120 people watching, which for me is massive. Could you imagine this guy has 50,000 people watching on Twitch every single time he clicks stream? That isn't, I don't even know how that's possible, but it happens. What do you prefer? We watch Twitch or YouTube? So for the games, playing video games, it's going to be on Twitch. Mostly, I will occasionally do a little playing on YouTube, but most of the gaming stuff and playthroughs will be on Twitch. When it comes to regular streams, I appreciate, you can choose it. I really appreciate either. Oops, boom, restored. Either way, whatever you like. I have no preference. You can be either way. You obviously, I mean, I will have 1,000, 1,500 people watching on YouTube, and on Twitch usually have, well, today we've got 84. I appreciate that. So generally speaking, when it comes to just chatting or talking with chat and doing reacts, normally YouTube being a much bigger platform is where I get more views. But I also do appreciate people moving on to Twitch as well, because it really does help with the growth of the platform. And at the end of the day, I am trying to make sure not all my eggs are in one basket, because if I can also grow Twitch and Patreon, what happens is that if something weird happens on YouTube, well, I can still have an audience on Twitch, right? And so that's why I'm trying to make sure that I'm expanded as much as I can. So I do appreciate that. Thank you, Evil Black. Metatron, you're aware of Lady Decade. She's all about retro gaming history. Lady Decade, maybe she's the one that shows the consoles. If she's the one that shows the console, then yes. Then yes, absolutely. And yes, love your work. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Black Wolf. And also we've got a link to my Discord. Lots of links today, right? Lots of links today. Probably a lot. I mean, he was always successful, Baron, when it comes to his numbers. But I think diving into the culture war from the prism of gaming, because he already had a gaming audience, exploded him. I know that because his original channel on Twitch, I don't know if you know this, but Asmongold's original channel on Twitch at one point was completely banned, perma-banned. And so he then just told his audience, well, come and watch me on my second channel, which is a channel that he had, basically a dead channel that he had many years ago, Zach something. And he immediately rebuilt a massive following, and that's where he's streaming now. That's what happened. So as you see, if something happens, thank you, 93 viewers, appreciate that. That really helps with the average. Exactly, yeah, Zach Raw. And yeah, that's what happened not so long ago. And that's the channel where he's now reaching. So basically, when a creator has other platforms, the creator automatically becomes uncancelable. Because if you get rid of one of the platforms, well, the creator didn't put all his eggs in one basket, and that's what happens. And he's also on YouTube, of course, and he has a clips channel. I also have a clip channel, by the way. We're working on that one too, because it's a good way to expand. You gotta be strategic about it, guys. You gotta be strategic. That's just how it is. And I didn't know that, Malone. So that's unfortunate that he had to do that. That happened to him, and yeah, definitely. But yeah, that's the situation. Yeah, I think that's why I say I think he's a little mixed, in the sense that I know he has voted on both sides. So I think he looks at the candidate. Usually that makes you an independent. When you vote based on party, then you are either, in America, you're either a Democrat or a Republican. But when you vote based on candidate, I think you're more correctly defined as an independent. I could be wrong, but you'll explain it to me if I'm saying something incorrectly. Of course, it's just my personal opinion. So yeah. Oh, he monetized. Oh, that channel you mean? Because this other channel, I know he made $100,000 within a week just from Twitch subscriptions to the new channel. He said that. So the problem is that he doesn't spend any money, so he lives in the freaking wherever he lives. If it was me, $100,000. You know how many helmets? You know how many helmets I would buy if I if I made like $100,000 worth of. This house would become impossible to walk around. The percentage, the ratio of wood, stone, and steel, the proportion will go nuts if something like that happened to me. Yeah, that's what would happen. Thank you, Shinigami, for becoming a member. I appreciate you using your Prime subscription, by the way. It's an honor for me. Every time I see that, considering that you could give it to so many other streamers that are better than me, more entertaining, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, he lives very humbly. Hey, if it works for him, Dylan, at the end of the day, I guess he's really connected emotionally to the house where he grew up with. And so, of course, he could afford a freaking castle, most likely. He could probably afford a $3 million mansion. But if that's not what he wants, then who am I to say? Each person can live their life however they see fit. But he buys the games, which he writes off. I know that because I do that. I write off games from taxes. So imagine what he writes off. He can write off any computer, anything, honestly. So it doesn't even actually spend money on the games. If you look at it from this way, well, that's America for you, because in Italy, they wouldn't allow me to do that. As you know, I started my YouTube career in Italy, and then I moved to America. Then one of the main difference is the way tax reductions work. So in Italy, I can't write off anything. Nothing. But here in America, yeah, sure, you can write off this. I can write off the helmet if I use it for content production. I can write off a lot of stuff. America is great when it comes from this. So the taxes are still there, but at least you can kind of count, because as a YouTuber, basically my tax return looks exactly the same as it would for a freelance any freelance person is the same. And so, yeah, there are some taxes that I have to look into and all of that situation. Of course, I have a professional that helps me with it every year, also because I'm also an immigrant. So I want to make sure that I build a credit score because I'm non-existent. So that's the reason why we could buy a house, is because I had to make sure the government, I'm paying everything by the books, everything. If anything, the tax expert told me, if you're unsure about how much you made from a sponsor, just always declare a little more. Pay more, a little, and then we check things, and then maybe you'll get from tax return, you get some money back. Do that. Just don't mess with the IRS. And I agree. So everything by the books, but I can write off, and that's great. Are you the sole owner? No, my wife and I file taxes jointly. We have a higher... in fact, if you are a freelancer, you should do that. If you become a YouTuber and you have a significant person, you should do that, because then you have a higher, what do you call it? A higher, goodness gracious, can't think, tetto, I'm thinking it in Italian, maximum peak, before you step into the next percentage in the tax brackets. It's higher if you file jointly, so I would suggest to do that. Absolutely, Matt. You do know that Al Capone, bracket, thank you, yeah, he was got through tax evasion, because he didn't pay taxes. That's how we got him, if I remember correctly. Ceiling also, yeah, thank you. There is a ceiling, and that varies depending on whether you do that. And by the way, my wife we work together. She edits a lot of my videos. So she helps a lot. She runs my entire clips channel, in the sense that I send her the videos, she does the clips, and then she uploads them on the clip channel, and it's entirely run by her, 100% her. I don't do anything for the clip channel. If anything, I just provide the content, but she does everything with that channel. So yeah, exactly, Ginger. That's what I know. Yeah, I would say he's definitely not. It doesn't strike to me as being like a far-right guy, an actual far-right guy. I think he's clearly right-leaning on some issues when it comes to the culture war. But I have only noticed him do that with takes that would be sensical, though. So at that point, I don't even know if it goes into a political term, but whatever. I guess you can have a left-leaning person who isn't toxic, because I hate toxicity on either side, but a left-leaning person might be like, no, I actually love the body 1, body 2. I love it. I love it. It makes me feel better. I think it's good. Great. Good for you. At that point, I guess that take is left-leaning. So his take of criticizing the usage of that language would be considered right-leaning in the current spectrum. But it doesn't give me feels of an extremist. I just don't see it. But we'll watch more. And we'll see how it is. So that's one of the things. Well, we'll see that, John Anderson. I don't believe so, but if you're right, only time will tell. I know he's atheist, right? Yeah. Yeah, sure. Well, we would disagree then, I guess, in that situation, as long as he's not an asshole about it. I don't have a problem with people disagreeing on religion. Yeah, I guess in that sense, it usually, at least in the US, you tend to find, it's not always the case, but usually you tend to find people that are against religion tend to be in the left, and then people who are pro-religion tend to be on the right. Of course, you have the whole thing of the Christian right and the Christian nationalism, then there is all that situation. But then again, there are exceptions. It's not always the same. I mean, for instance, Ben Shapiro is very conservative, but he's not a Christian. I understand he's religious, but he's not a Christian. So I guess he would disagree with a Christian nationalist. So it's complicated, right? And it depends on the person. I know I don't even like mentioning him because of his takes during the... Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to mention him. I was going to mention someone, but no. Yeah, he's opinionated. Exactly. Thank you, Domina. That's how I would describe him. He's definitely opinionated. But up to this point, I haven't seen anything that I would consider to be hateful. And as long as you don't push actual hatred towards people, any people, whether it be minorities, whether it be white people, if you push hatred, I don't like you, I'll never work with you. But if you don't push hatred and you're opinionated, I don't have a problem with you, whether I agree or disagree with those takes. That's really my way of living this culture, this current situation with culture, which is why I say my channel is open and you're all welcome here. I don't care what you believe. It's your freedom. Just don't be assholes about it. That's all I ask. Yeah. But that's where we are. Cool. Yeah, I really didn't like World of Antiquity's take on the ancient Romans. It felt extremely politicized. And at that point, I wouldn't call him opinionated because he's a professional, he's a professor. And on the video, he was saying this is the true facts of history. But then you present a politically skewed view, then I'm going to make a debunking video. But we're still in good terms. As you know, he invited me over. I went to his live stream. We are cordial to each other. We disagree with each other, but we are managing to be adults about it, and we're managing to be still cordial and just attack the argument. So I'm never going to say that Dr. Dave Miano, unless he does something actually crazy, just because we disagree on our takes and the words usage specifically. In fact, it's a nomenclature discussion that we have had, where he says that calling the ancient Romans European and white is inappropriate, and I said, no, I disagree. It's deeper than that, but you'll have to go check out my video if you want to know more. We disagree, but we still have an atmosphere of mutual respect in that situation, which I think is a rare sight. So I guess that's a good thing. But anyways, guys, I'm going to go eat. I'm going to make some pasta because I'm the king of pasta. Thank you very much for making the stream successful. I will play some video games, so people on later, so people on Twitch. Do look forward to that. Thanks. I don't know what I'm going to make. Che pasta ti fai? Ma maybe some spaghetti tonight. Tonight I'm kind of vanilla. I'm going to make some spaghetti. But thank you for being here. Appreciate for your generosity, all the memberships and the super chats and all that. And also for all the people subscribing on Twitch, blacklisted included. Thank you very much. And I will be seeing you again very soon. Tomorrow we're going to go live, same time. Same place, and then for people on Twitch, I'm gonna be playing some games. We're gonna have some time. We need to finish a Heroes of Might and Magic. We'll do it tonight. Thank you, guys, and have a good one. Thank you for your generosity. Cha cha cha. Glory to Pompey. We need to raise our hands. Glory to Pompey, guys. Have a good one. Cha cha.